Let me say that one slur.
Well, how do you do, folks? Welcome back. Long time no see.
Welcome back, Kawaii for Real Radio Show.
Kawaii for real.
I don't know which episode this is.
Like 6 or 7. Maybe it's 5. I don't know.
Who knows?
Probably like 6 or 7.
Probably.
I'm your host, your boy Shawty Kwan.
Hi, it's Makai again.
Yo, what's up?
And we have guest star.
Special guest alert.
Hi, it's Leslie, the sister.
Wow.
Yeah, she's my sister.
Guys, it's sister from Cuphead. Remember that? I
No,
remember. I sure do.
I thought they was just brothers.
And then we insert flashback to
Oh,
the
okay.
Cuphead. Anyway, what are we talking about today? What's on the top? What's on the docket for today, fellas?
Today we're going to be talking about parenting because I am not a parent, but I was a child once in
That's
my life.
true.
So,
Yeah, at one point I held the world record for the youngest person.
that's true.
I held it for a little bit.
Literally. And then I did it too.
No.
Oh, you're right.
That's not true.
Okay.
Benjamin Button looking at, hey, but
Who's
you know,
that?
at least we're here. At least we're here. So here's the thing, right? Is when talking about parenting from two non-parents, we figure that, you know, some people might not want to listen. So we happen to find a parent here, and she's got all kinds of wisdom, all kinds of things to say.
Mm-hmm. This is like when you're going to court and they like bring in like an expert. This is our expert, yeah, expert witness.
This is our field expert.
Exactly.
We found a parent in the wild.
Yeah, we
But
caught her with the net.
Just a disclaimer, this is just how I parent. So,
Yeah.
like, this is not like you have to parent this way.
So this is objectively right, is what she's saying.
Correct.
If you're not doing it this way, then you're like, you should like throw your kid away and start over.
Oh,
She said,
Yeah.
buy a new one.
Wait, did I say the right one? Objective is like, it's subjective. That's like,
I think subjective is correct. Because it's subjective to each person.
Mhm.
But isn't objective mean like that is like 100% fact?
Yes, our way of
Okay.
parenting is objectively correct.
Okay,
is
yeah.
what we're saying.
So we're all of
100%.
us are right and everyone else is wrong. is what
Yeah.
we're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
that.
There we go. Perfect.
Why do
So,
you have your water and ice separated?
Because I need to be stimulated, okay?
Oh.
I'm on the bouncy ball. I'm on the chewing ice. I have
He's
to
on
be
his boyfriend's
stimulated.
balls right
Okay.
now.
I have the Subway Surfers gameplay right behind the mic.
Exactly.
All right, I need it.
Okay,
So what made you brought up the topic?
I did.
So what did you have to say? You got some facts?
Yeah, so, well, I don't think, so far at least in my life, I've kind of decided that I don't think I ever want kids. I'm more of a fun uncle, like, you know, I'll hang out with your kid and then give it back when it start crying and she, but I do think I have some strong opinions, again, as a child and as, like, substitute teacher. I have a lot of like opinions that like kind of tie into that,
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's like, you know, your parenting definitely affects like how they are in school and stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing I was gonna bring up, I already kind of brought this up with Leslie earlier, but forget that we talked about it and talk about it now.
Right.
Okay, basically,
Kinda
number one, I don't think people should hit their children. I don't think you should. Like, I think there's like basically never a reason to need to do that.
I agree. However, I will say there's only very limited circumstances that I will say that action can be okay, and that is if they're going to endanger their lives or endanger somebody else's life. So, like, if they walk out into traffic or they go out on the street to go
Mhm.
like. Not if they like get a toy went in there or whatever, because obviously they're not going in the
Push
street
them
for
to make sure
fun.
they get hit by
Yeah. But if you've already told them like, hey, don't run out to the street, and they do it again, I feel like that would be a reason to spank them, only
Okay.
because if they don't listen, they're gonna die.
I
So
see.
they kind of
Okay.
need that like that pain, I guess, to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that.
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel like if they spill milk or they told you no, like you don't have to hit them for that. But if it's like an emergency, they're not listening to you, you've tried all your tactics, that's the last resort. And it's only if their lives are in danger or they're going to endanger somebody else's life.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else, like that's not life or death, doesn't need a physical punishment.
Okay. What's your thoughts on that?
Use the rod, beat the child.
Oh yeah, because
That's my philosophy.
that's what my parents would
No, I'm
always
kidding.
say is the whole like if you spare the rod, you spoil the child,
Yeah.
and then they'd like break a hanger on my butt.
See, that's the thing though. Here's
Hi,
the thing
Mom.
though. It's like everything has nuance. It's not black or white. Like
Oh yeah.
I mean, like
What
she
about
said,
zebras?
I mean, see, that's the thing. They're black and white. You know
Oh,
what I'm
you're
saying?
right.
They're
You're right.
white with black
They
stripes.
got both. Also,
Okay.
what's their inside? You know, it's probably like red or whatever.
You might be
know?
right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like red, white, and blue.
There you go.
Everything's America.
Exactly. That's what you bled after your parents hit you.
Oh
Go
no.
Marty.
Literally. Dude, I have Madagascar.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's nuance to it. I mean, it depends on the situation. I think as long as the punishment is like being useful,
Yeah.
you know. So as long as it's being useful and serving and like making, because like if the kid is like too young or can't understand the reason, then you hitting them like they're not gonna understand the reason anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I just like for most things, you know, you just want to try and use reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, if they can understand, like, hey, if I go into the street, I get spanked, I'm gonna not do that, and that's what it takes because they don't understand street equals death, then I don't know, I think that's game.
Like I'm trying to think about like the reasons I got spanked as a kid and try to like think if they're valid. It's just like yeah, I agree where it's like I've heard the like quotes where it's like, oh, if they're too young to understand, like why would you hit them? Because they're not gonna understand why you're hitting them.
Yeah.
But if they're old enough to understand reason, why don't you just reason with them instead of hitting them, you know?
No.
But yeah, I definitely do think I will say like I won't rule it out, I guess, that like there's never ever a reason. Like there probably is like a few reasons. But it's just like I think about it and just like it's just
Maybe
like
Zuko.
That shouldn't be
Like-
like your go-to.
Exactly,
It should be
definitely
the
not.
last resort.
For sure, yeah. Because I'm like thinking about it, like I know like I was watching like Super Nanny the other day, and like those kids are like terrible, and they'll like scream and they'll hit and they'll like break things and whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like you know if your kid's like throwing glass on the floor or like throwing things at you, it's like you know part of me is like oh maybe I should beat his ass, you know. But yeah, it just like depends because it's like I think about it and it's like you know like if you're like, have you seen the things where like people will like find out that their kid was like bullying another kid like
Yeah.
and so it's like I wouldn't like spank them. Like I think there's a lot of times where you can have like the consequences where they're like really teachable moments and they're like how it's like oh this kid made a mess, don't like beat him because he's like you said like he spilled milk, just make him
Right.
clean it. Or like if I had like a kid and they were like bullying this kid for being bald because they got cancer, oh well I'm shaving your head, now
Yeah.
you're bald, like
Uh-oh.
you idiot.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, you know,
Like
so I think that's my
publicly
thing.
embarrass them. I know
Exactly.
I feel like one mom, like she had a sign up that was like, I bullied a kid at school, like honk if you disagree or like
I
something,
saw that.
something along
Yeah,
the lines
yeah.
of basically trying to embarrass him. And it was
Mhm.
like everyone was honking at him and like being like, why'd you do that? You know.
Literally.
And the mom's over here like, woohoo! Like, keep
Yeah.
doing that.
Dude, I saw that. Yeah, because
Stone them in the court of public opinion.
literally, because that's the thing is like I feel like like humility like can go a long ways in like teaching people and like people don't get enough of it like especially these days where like you know like kids will like go to school and get called to like the principal and then the parents are like my kids would never do that
Yeah.
and then it's like oh great like now your kid's like not learning how to be a good person because you just defend them all the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean I would definitely say yeah try to do your best not to hit them unless it is the last resort, you know, maybe you could shake them, like that's fine. Just kind of, but you know,
Don't do
no,
it.
no, shake yeah, permanent damage is better than
I feel like also there's a difference between like you're being angry and you hitting them and then you trying to teach them a lesson. Because a lot of parents
True.
act out in anger first and then they're not teaching your kid a lesson.
Exactly.
So usually if they're throwing glass, they're hitting you, like you're supposed to walk away and
Mhm.
like compose yourself and then approach it. That way because I mean everyone's human, so like when somebody hits you, you obviously like your body wants to hit them back. And so it's
Yeah.
kind of like one of
Yeah.
those, especially like all day they've been annoying you and it's your last straw, they just like straight up just right in the face and you're like, ah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Literally.
So it just you have to walk away and then come back with like a calm mind and be like, okay, how are we going to approach this? But you also have a limited amount of time because especially like 2, 3, like the toddler years, their brain doesn't remember much. And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the consequent, like, immediately. You can't, as they get older, you can be like, all right, because you did this in the morning, you don't get to have dessert at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. But with
Yeah,
a 2-year-old, she's not, like, they're not going to remember that they did
exactly.
that, and they won't equate to, like, oh, I spilt my cereal this morning, so I don't get dessert.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even remember that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to tackle it in that moment for them to be like, okay, I should not be throwing my cereal. But
Yeah.
so
You heard it here first. You have to tackle it, the baby, right when it happens.
Preferably right as they run into the street to really
Yeah.
maximize the distance.
Exactly. Yeah.
unlock the door.
All right.
All right.
Next order
I
of
think
business.
I think that's fair enough.
I agree.
I don't know you're talking about, like, the school aspect, the sub aspect,
That's true.
any particular wisdoms there? I feel like y'all two are really gonna take the lead on this
Oh, shoot.
particular
Well, I was gonna say
observations of today's youth.
another thing about parenting is I feel like especially nowadays more parents need to be really involved in their children's academic lives, not only just their grades but also making sure that they're doing the right things, maybe getting them involved in activities and stuff. I think it's a really good idea to try and not force your kid but encourage them to do a school activity, an extracurricular and things like that. Because my biggest fear especially was what if I raise a kid and I do everything I can to make them as best behaved as I can, but then they go to school and they get in with the wrong crowd and then
it up.
oh my, maybe, and then everything goes badly, because that's the thing. It's there's only so much you can do, because when you especially when you put kids in public schools and they're being
So like nature versus nurture.
exactly, yeah, and then they're being exposed to all these things that you really wouldn't want them to be exposed to, but you can't change that. That's just how even if it didn't happen in public school, it would happen in the future at work or something. So it's just scary. Is that something you're scared of, where it's oh, as soon as she goes to school, what if she becomes a different person? That's why teenagers are angsty teens, because they're rebelling and they're hanging out with their friend groups and
That's
they're
their inner furry trying to claw its way out.
oh yeah,
That's
you're right,
part of
exactly,
I
yeah.
don't know. But I feel like yes and no. I feel like I can the best that I can do is to kind of expose her to these things a little early on. Like, hey, there's some people that might do this, or there's people that might be doing all these bad things. Because our parents, they were so strict to the point where we couldn't do anything, talk about anything, and then as soon as we left the house, it was well, I'm going to do all of those things because they told me not to, and I'd rather expose her to it. That way she's not angsty to try something, because I mean innately as a teen, it's just in you to want to not listen to your parents. You just want to rebel. And I feel that's just that natural you starting to separate yourself from your parents, but you're not there all the way right now.
Exactly.
So it's you kind of, instead of being all right, alcohol's not a thing, we're not going to talk about alcohol, don't ever drink alcohol, you can be all right, this is what alcohol is, this is what it does to you, you can get a hangover, and approach it in that way. Or even pregnancy too is we weren't, it was so taboo, we don't talk about sex at all.
Oh, for sure.
And then it was okay, so then what, and I'd rather her, at least for my child, I want to talk to her about it. That way she kind of she knows about it, she knows how it happens, and I can prepare her. And what she does with that is kind of on her, and that's the best that I can do.
Exactly.
I mean, I am scared. I don't want her to turn out to be a weirdo, but at the same time, I feel because she's my kid, I'll still love her regardless. I'm not concerned about her being super popular or having a bunch of friends, because I know people who want the limelight and they try to be popular, but then I see that they don't really have a lot of quality friends. And it's okay, true. Yeah, you have 400 likes on Instagram or whatever, but how many of those friends come and visit you just to say hi or text you?
Exactly, yeah.
1 or 2. Whereas I may not get 400 likes, but I know that I have quality friends.
For sure,
so
yeah.
I feel it's also hard to judge that too. At the end of the day, is she happy? Is she, doing her homework? And if her friends are doing some questionable things, just try to figure out what those questionable things are, and then kind of see like why she like likes it, or like what part of that is she interested in. Is there anything that I can do that she like, if she wants to get into alcohol, which I know like is hard to stop a teen, but I'd rather her like, if you want to drink, then you're gonna drink here with me where I can watch you. I don't want you going to somebody else's house, especially like that there's other dads there. Like, just I've heard so many terrible stories about like dads drugging their daughter's friends and like doing gross stuff to
I've heard
them.
those things.
I have
So
not. What?
Oh yeah, there's like a huge thing where like a lot of parents are like, I'm never letting my kids go to sleepovers, because whenever I went to sleepovers, that was the first time I was like exposed to like porn, because like, me and my like, 12-year-old friends who are like girls
yeah,
would go to someone's house, and then their 16-year-old brother would show them like porn on the computer. And then like that's how like they first got exposed to that kind of stuff, and it was like super traumatic, and so they were like, I've never letting my kid go to a sleepover.
Dude, awesome.
Which
yeah,
I think for me, for that, I think I would let my kids go to sleepovers, but like, which this is one thing I really liked that my parents did, is that like if I went to go hang out with friends, go to a friend's house, whatever, they made sure that they knew the other friends
yeah,
and the friends' parents.
yeah.
And so I feel like that's a huge thing that parents should be involved in as well, not just be like, oh, I don't know who Sophie is, but have fun at her
Yeah, no,
sleepover. Yeah.
never.
But like if you know the family and you're like almost like family friends, with them, and you know that they're like good people and their kids are good people, I think that's like really safe for like, okay, you can go to their
I
party
mean,
or
but
whatever.
To an extent.
it's also the family, friends, and family that those are the ones that actually end up hurting rather
Oh,
than
really?
strangers. Like the statistics are like, it would be, you would I don't know how to word it correctly, but
Jamie, can we get the stats on that?
Oh my gosh.
yeah, like most people get assaulted by a family member or someone that they actually know versus just a stranger.
I
Not to
do
say
know
that the
yeah.
strangers things don't happen, but most commonly it's you actually know them. So you just always have to be careful, even if like you trust them, like you still you never actually know a person.
Do you think you're like, I would never let Vivian go to like
I feel like
a like slumber party or something?
like it just really really depends. I
Yeah.
mean, she can have sleepovers here, obviously,
true.
because it's my house, but like I would really 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 have to know
Yeah,
this person and like trust that they're not going to hurt her in any way.
for sure.
And definitely I would like, I mean, she would have to be in high school. I don't even think I would do middle school. Just until she gets a phone, which I haven't decided when, but that way
Oh,
I can
yeah.
like track her. And I know there's different ways around that, but just everything that I can to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I know teens, they want to sneak out, they want to, do things, but I really want to try to be the parent that's like, okay, like if you go out to a party, which one you weren't supposed to go to, and two, like you're drinking, and like I'd rather her call me and say like, hey, I'm drunk, and like go pick her up, or even call like one of her aunts or someone like a friend. She
Not
doesn't
her
have to call
uncle.
me, but just I mean, yeah. And like, and I mean, I would want the adult to tell me, but just for her to call someone instead of trying to drive home or be here on time. Like I'd rather you be okay than end up in a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you thought?
That checks out. I mean, that thing you were talking about, like the knowing the parents thing, I think that applies a lot more like the younger they are. I think the older you get or the older they get, like especially high school age, because I remember finding that really annoying. Like I feel like a high schooler, voice crack intended, should be able to like make friends and go hang out without you having to like, you know, do a background check on every single one of their friends. I think it also depends. Like, if for a sleepover, like fine, you want to vet them, that makes sense. But just to like,
Well, just to
just to
hang
like, yeah,
out.
like, just to go.
Oh, yeah, I guess
That's
not to- yeah.
different.
Like
But to
that's
actually sleep over, that's a different
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I clarify. Yeah, it was only like really when I went to like sleep over at someone's house, then like my parents would want to know. But if it was just like a hangout, they didn't care. But yeah, because I know like I remember I went on like a weekend trip to one of my friend's lake house when we graduated, and like my parents made me get literally the mom and dad's phone number of every single person going and their phone number, so it would be like, like Jake's mom, Jake's dad, Jake, and it would like and it was like four people, so they had like
Awesome.
freaking like 20 numbers almost. But yeah, and it's like at the time I was like, oh, this is so annoying. I literally had to be in the group chat like, can I get your guys' parents' phone numbers? But like, in the end of the day, I was like, whatever. Like, they didn't even use them anyway, so it's fine. But it's like I think yeah, like you want to be safe, but you don't want to like pry too much because like that's the issue, especially with kids in like their teenage years, where it's like you have to like find the line between being like the responsible parent but also being like a trustworthy friend. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you can tell me, like you said, like that you're drunk and you're at this party, and I'm not gonna like be mad to where you'd rather just drive home drunk
Yeah.
and then crash and die. Like I'd rather you like be able to like, you know, call me if that's like something you need help with, and
Right.
know that like I might be a little mad at you, but like I'll still be there for you and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, our parents were very strict, so I definitely would have tried to drive home instead of calling them. Like they made it very clear, like we're not your friends, we're your parents. And so
Yeah.
like that's so true. As I'm trying to find the balance between that, because I mean I've had friends where their parents were like their best friends and they didn't have any responsibilities, and like I see where they are in life now, where I'm like they don't even know what like how to do laundry.
Literally, yeah.
And then but like being overly strict, it was like I felt very sheltered going into like my own. There was just a lot of things that I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, or
Yeah.
they didn't really touch on it.
Exactly.
So I feel like finding that balance is gonna be, and also like you have to cater, like you can't have like one set rules for every kid, because every kid's gonna have a different personality. So what
Yeah.
might work for like one kid may not work for the other one. Just depending, like if you're more social, then like you can do like social consequences, but if you have a kid who just wants to stay home and you ground them, that's not really a consequence.
Exactly. True.
So then like taking away stuff might affect them, so you kind of have to cater towards how they are and what affects them.
I mean that checks out. If your kid likes to box, you box them out in the street.
True.
That's what you gotta do. Gotta show him who's boss.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Alpha. You gotta be like, I'm the Sigma, you're the Beta. But yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what sucks about like strict parents too, is that like they'll be like really like sheltering, and then like you don't know things, and then it's like, because it's like I didn't even like. I'm not gonna lie, my parents would always like. I think they were just saying this to like discourage us, but they always told us that porn was illegal. I thought it was like straight up illegal, and so like I remember like one time my friend, he like jokingly sent me a link, and it was like the time. It was like the time.
Was it meat spin?
I no.
Oh.
But it was like that time where like people would like send links, but they could change what the URL was, and so it would be like, oh, whatever, random thing, and then it was like porn, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get arrested, like they're gonna find my address, like the cops are coming right now, and it was like so scary. But like that's what I'm saying, and it was so stupid because I didn't know it was like not illegal, and then like second of all, it's just like, like it's not like something like you talk about with your friend, but it's like
Yeah,
you want your kid to like not be like so sheltered to where they're like stupid, like someone's talking about something and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like I remember like it was like middle school and I was talking to someone about how I wanted an iPhone, and they were like, what's an iPhone? And I was like, how do you not know what an iPhone is? Like what? They're like everyone has an iPhone right now next to you. Like what? But that's what I'm saying. Like that's the thing, is like you don't want someone to be like too sheltered to where like they also like like have issues socially where they can't like talk with people and like be part of conversations, and like to where like again like they're not like hindered and they don't know things, because then it's like, oh, they're gonna find out drugs and alcohol from someone else. Like I would rather like my kid be 18 and have their first drink with me, than like oh no, they're drunk and passed out and people are like messing
they
with
don't
them.
ever talk about it, then they don't know like there's a difference between having a few drinks and then just getting completely hammered. You have to teach them like there's an alcohol level. Yours is going to probably be a lot lighter than everybody else's, and like you kind of just have to, you pretty much like with a kid you have to teach them everything. They don't just know things. You just really have to be like, what's that? That's carpet. Never thought I had to tell anyone what carpet is, but you don't think about it until they're like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And you're like, a ceiling.
Because that's the thing. That's why I hate like the idea of abstinence. Because I think Quinn told me this, but like I think your
Uh-oh.
guys' parents were the same kind of parents. Where my parents, like, they did not sign off on like, oh, you can watch those like educational videos about like
No, I had
puberty
to miss
and
out.
sex and
Yeah.
body. And so like literally, it was like just me and my sister, like, and we had to like sit in the computer lab because we weren't allowed to watch the videos. And then I was like, like I did not know anything. I did not know any of that stuff, and like none of my family, and they never told us that stuff either. So we would just find out. We would just be going through puberty, and
That's
I was
the
like, oh
truth,
great.
yeah.
But yeah, and so it's like ridiculous because I hate the like how they do that with like puberty and like sex and like alcohol and drugs, because it's like that takes away people's ability to make informed decisions. Like how
Right.
can people choose the right thing to do if they don't even know what's going on?
Right.
And it's like so stupid, and I
I
think
just
it's
feel like
dumb.
everything should be talked about, even just like
Mhm.
letting her know that like men are a different species. So like for me, like like our parents didn't really like say much about it, and so when
Men
I
are
got
from Mars.
into like a
Oh
situation,
yeah.
it was like I've never been in that situation. I didn't know what to do, and like I don't ever want my child to feel like that. So just letting her know like sometimes these things happen. Here's what you can do. Like,
Mhm.
And
because
then you hand her a gun.
Oh my
no,
god.
yeah.
But dude, literally, yeah, like you need to.
It's pepper spray. So
Oh,
But like
nice.
even just like teaching proper or just even talking about puberty with your kids, like I
Mhm.
know like my mom, she was very like did not want to talk about it. It was awkward for her. She tried to like use a little book, and
Mhm.
then like she did it for like 2 days and then just stopped. And like
Mhm.
for the longest time, like I didn't even know, like I knew that I had cramps, but I didn't know what they were.
Mhm.
And so I would just like sit there in pain, and I was like talking to my older sister about it, and like my mom happened to walk by and she was, "Oh, like I have medicine for that." And I'm like, "What? Okay, like you never offered that in the beginning. You never even
Exactly.
told me what this pain is." And I feel
Mhm.
like if she would have just like told me everything, then I would have been more prepared for it, but it was like I
Mhm.
felt like I couldn't even ask her because it was too awkward to bring up to her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you want your parents to be like, or like as a parent, you want to be like approachable, so
Yeah.
your kids can go to you for things, because like they shouldn't have to go to like like a
Friend.
teacher, or
Yeah.
like a friend, or like an older sibling, because that's like
Mhm.
not their job.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could also like give them false information too.
That's true.
Like for a there's like a good amount of women out there who like flush their tampons. And it's like you're not supposed to do that. But they're like, we didn't know, nobody told us, and it's like just basic things like that. I feel like you should.
Most people don't know that pee is stored in the balls.
That's
No,
true.
that's just
Dude, a lot of people don't know that you like
Mhm.
only need to wear like one condom. Like people will think like more condom equals like safer, and they'll like put on like three and stuff. Like there's people out there doing that.
Make
Wow.
a condom.
Exactly. It's like
I mean,
crazy.
I feel like you would cut off all circulation to your nuts first, but also second, like
That cuts
Yeah,
off
the,
the
Does it work?
circulation of
It
the
might come off
cum.
and
Does it
get
work?
left inside.
He's like, didn't I put three of these on?
Yeah.
Where'd the other two go?
Oh
But
no.
Oh,
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Fly is putting in his input.
Oh,
Oh
thank
my
you.
god, dude, it's just gonna be like we can't. All you hear is like.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on this? I know there's like a thing that people talk about where they're like, I am not teaching my kids like, oh, that's like my private area or my no area. Like they'll like teach them like the proper terminology.
Oh, I do that.
Okay, yeah, because like people have like done research, and it's like if you teach them that, like they are like way like safer if something like that happens to them. Like if a random person is like oh, a little kid, and like touches them, they can be like, hey, don't touch my boobs or something.
Right.
Not like don't touch my area. Like
They say like cookie, like oh,
yeah,
whoever
cookie.
like they're being touched and they go to the teacher and it's like oh, like uncle touched my cookie or whatever, or you're like oh well, tell him not to do that.
They're
Versus
like,
you're
tell
just
him to
like
give you that Oreo back.
yeah, but if you use the right like words, and that you can get help quicker.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for that, and I do that the same thing, and even like my sisters were trying to change the name of P and they were calling it TT, and I'm like, no, it's pee. Like,
Mhm.
we're not just gonna make different words because it sounds dirty. Like, no,
Exactly,
we're
yeah.
peeing in the potty. We're not TTing. Like, what is TT?
Stupid. She goes to the teacher, she's like, I think I TT'd. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, and then the next thing I was gonna talk about, you already touched on this, but phones. When do you guys think that your kids should have a phone?
Dude, this is I've done a lot of thinking about this. I don't know because I got my phone. Well, first I got my iPod Touch, which for all intents and purposes is a phone just when you're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Um, and I got that in like what, like fifth grade, I think,
Dang, really?
maybe fourth. And I definitely like even as locked down as that puppy was, because Dad you used that to lock down, dude. Like I still like definitely found a way to like look at boobies and stuff on that thing. So that was kind of crazy. So that was not a good. But that's the thing though, is I was like a kid, so it wasn't like ooh baby, it was like it was more just like a genuine curiosity, because like I like like we never talked about it, and like I had the little pass signed or whatever, so the school wasn't allowed to tell me what boobies were, so I
Mm.
had to just like look, and I was like, oh shoot, straight up, dang, when's mine coming in? That's crazy. That's crazy, dog.
You're like, I
Um,
can't look up boobies. Can you show me yours?
and like I definitely teach you a connection,
Teacher.
bro. And like that's the thing, is like I definitely it's hard because
What is?
on one hand it's like it's helpful, communication, it's nice. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can do the like, people live whatever without phones, and it's like, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true, but I mean they're nice to have now.
Exactly, yeah.
The other thing is though, I also wasted so much of my life in high school, and I still do now, even on that wretched machine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so bad. Like, I was like an awful person, and I'm not saying that it was like all the phone, because that's like way too simple to just be like, damn kids on their phones. It's like, okay, everyone says that, but just like
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did spend like way more time just being in my room and just like watching YouTube and just being miserable instead of like living life or
Mm-hmm.
doing anything. Like a very significant chunk of my high school life was just like go to school, be miserable, come home, and then be miserable on my phone.
Don't worry. There's phone time at the end of
Yeah,
the
I know
day.
pretty much. And then my siblings, would come up and they'd be like, "Yo, you trying to?" And they couldn't even get with the phone. It's like, "Shut up, get
You're like,
out."
I'm trying to hack the
I
phone
know, I know,
again.
bro. I know. I was like, yo, new boobies just dropped. I got,
Oh my god.
they added a
You're just
new flavor,
refreshing the page.
bro. That's
Oh my
crazy. Yeah,
god.
I know. I don't know. It was kind of nuts. I mean, so obviously there's like that, which I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, kids got to learn what boobies are at some point, I guess. But it was more so just the fact of like it's just such a big time waster. So what I would say is I don't know if it's like what age specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more so just like an approach thing, like
For sure.
making it very clear and understood, and making it such that the phone is a device and not like a vice, or like
Mm-hmm.
something. Because for me, it definitely was and still is kind of a vice. But I kind of wish that there was like a little bit of more hand holding in that sense, so that way it was seen more as a resource. And like, sometimes you can play on it or whatever. I don't know if that's like structured specific time, like, oh, you can only play games on it for this hour to this hour or whatever, or like, oh, like when you go to bed at night, you have to put your phone
Mm-hmm.
like in that room, because I think that that's a good strategy. So I'm not sure, but I know that definitely, as far as like what age, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I've said late elementary school, probably. I've seen some people do that. I don't know. I think somewhere in the realm of middle school, I think it's where most people probably agree is like
Yeah.
somewhere in there. I don't know. I think the approach is really important though, because I mean, you just like social media especially can be like really damaging for young impressionable people,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
even for adults, like it takes a lot of like mental fortitude to just like see people your age or younger who are doing way better than you are, and just be like, damn bruh, and just and to like
Uh-huh.
not feel some type of way. It's like, imagine being like like your hormonal middle school self, and you're just like looking at all that. I mean, I didn't have social media,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I'm able to say imagine, but I
Yeah.
imagine that you did,
I
and
did
you're sitting
in
there
like
looking and
middle
you're just
school.
like, bruh, like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
I mean, people, like, when I was in middle school, like, there was no, like, James Charles yet, so we all just kind of did our makeup like a middle schooler would. And then now, because there's so many, like, tutorials and stuff, you have, like, sixth graders coming in with, like, full face of makeup, like, doing makeup way better than I could. And it's like, yes, that's, like, a good thing that you're teaching people, but at the same time, like, this isn't something that a sixth grader needs to know how to do, because then that's how their face is going to be for the rest of their life. They're never going to, like, learn that just no makeup is also, like, how they are. They're beautiful without makeup. So there's, like, that's also, well, and then, like, kids like us who were sheltered and, like, we were only allowed to wear, like, so much makeup. It's like, now you don't feel as pretty as the other girls who have, like, the fake lashes and their parents take them to go, like, bleach their hair.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, that's why guys don't like me. So then when you become an adult, you do all those things, and then it's yeah, it's very damaging. And the other thing about a phone is, like, before people had cell phones, like, I feel like our mental state is also messed up, because before we couldn't be reached at all hours of the day. Now people have 24 access to us all the time, and it's mentally draining. And so I, like, when I make friends, I just let them know, like, I don't text every single day. Even if you text me, it might take me 2 weeks to a week to get back to you. It doesn't mean, like, I'm not prioritizing you or, like, I don't want to talk to you, but I mentally, like, cannot text you, reply to all, like, I can't do all of it. Like, but, like, my friends are the same way. So, like, that's how I make my friends, is just how we understand, like,
Your
we're
texts are
humans.
emails.
Right, just because you call me doesn't mean I have to answer. Like, you don't
Sure.
get to tell me, like, how I control my phone.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you have access to call me, you have access to text me, but that doesn't mean I am obligated to text you back or even answer or, like, call you back even. Like, there's some times where, like, I literally, somebody calls me and I'm just watching it as they call me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel like talking right now.
You're like, where's the skip ad button?
Yeah, but, like, I never, well, I don't want them to know. Like, that's the thing, is, like, I shouldn't feel like I have to hide from people when they call me. But I do, because I'm like, well, I don't want them to think I'm being rude. But at the end of the day, like, I have a 2-year-old and I'm, like, chasing her around. Like, I don't have the mental capacity to sit there and, like, and that's the other thing too, is, like, text is an ongoing conversation. Like, I don't ever say goodbye or, like, see you later. Like, I never end the conversation.
Hug.
Always going.
Oh yeah,
And that's
for sure.
also mentally draining. There's
That's
no
true.
like end to a
Be
start of a conversation. Whereas, like, before people had phones, like, they literally had to end the conversation, and then you had time to, like, have a breather.
Yeah.
But now it's just like the conversation just never stops, and then it just transitions into a new one. So I feel like, I don't know about age-wise, I feel like I'll just watch to see how she is, and just depending on her maturity or not, just to, I mean, I know they make different kind of phones where it's just used for calls and texts. There's not, like, smart stuff abilities to it. And that's also why I don't give her an iPad either.
Yeah.
Because, like, that also, I mean, they've done studies on that, where there's kids, the iPad kids, and the kids who don't play on their technology, they play outside. Like, the kids that are iPad kids, they're more, like, likely to get angrier. They have short attention spans. Like, they are just, I don't know, like a angsty little person, whereas the kids who play outside are able to regulate their emotions better. They're not constantly being stimulated. I feel like it's really annoying when you go out with your friends and, like, there's some people you can have a conversation with, and then there's other people, like, if they're not being talked to, they just go on their phone. And it's like, it's okay to be a part of the conversation but not have to talk. Like, you don't always have to, like, stimulate your brain at every second. And it's also okay to just think.
What are you talking
On
about?
your phone.
You get on your phone just as much.
No, I
That's
don't.
not true.
I don't even.
I'm the one who's yapping
You
almost
wouldn't
all the
even know I
time.
had a phone if
I
I
mean,
didn't.
like,
Bro,
to check it
whatever.
once in a while, like, if somebody's
Yo,
like,
yo,
I have a
Alyssa.
wife.
Alyssa, dude.
You're just gonna call her out like
I
that?
will. I will call her
He's
out.
calling you out.
Friend of the
Listen.
channel, bro.
well, I was
Oh
gonna
my
say,
God.
like, Samuel, he was always on his phone, but
Dead
Oh,
ass
Samuel.
going through TikTok in the middle of family dinner.
We calling you out.
he
Yeah.
did, but, you know.
You're listening, homeboy.
But dude, yeah, I've heard about those studies because like one thing that I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but you know, you ever go out in public, you're at like dinner or something, and you see like a random stranger with their baby, and their baby's like screaming, and the mom's like frantically looking in her bag to try and get like the phone or the iPad for them,
Yeah.
and I hate that because that's one thing that I hate about like the iPad, like babies and toddlers specifically, is that they don't know, because like a huge important thing about like kids is that you're supposed to teach them how to like play by themselves. Like they need to be able to be like self entertaining. Like they need to be able to be like, oh, I give you like a few toys and you can play with them for like a few hours and I don't need to check on you. You're not gonna like whine. You don't like need to be stimulated by me constantly. And so that's like a huge thing that I've noticed is that like kids can't do that these days. Like the ones with the iPads, like they will scream until you give them the screen, like, and then boom, the phone dies. It's over. It's over. Now everyone in the restaurant has to hear your stupid baby. You
Well,
know.
I feel like that's the other thing is like American society is not very nice to parents. They assume like their kids, like if your kid starts crying, everybody's judging you. And so either way, if like they cry because you're not giving them a screen, people are annoyed, and then people are annoyed if like the screen dies. Like either way, your kid's gonna cry, and I feel like
Yeah.
everyone should just be more like accepting of that instead of just being like, can you shut your baby up? They should just be like, I mean, I understand that like not everyone wants kids, and I understand like, yeah, I did make the choice to have a kid, but that doesn't mean that you just get to treat me rudely because
For sure.
I
Yeah.
have a kid and you don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like if people were just nicer about it, then like us parents wouldn't have to scramble to occupy them. Because like I try not to, but there are some times where I do like bring my phone out because
Yeah.
like if there's FMN, it depends on the restaurant. If like people are like, no, it's fine, like we don't care if she cries, then like okay, then I'm not like stressed.
For sure.
But if I'm in like another restaurant and she like is not even crying, she just like says something loudly because you know they don't know how to control their volume yet, and they like give me dirty looks, and then I'm already stressing like okay, well then I just have to constantly entertain, and that's the thing is like they don't innately know how to play by themselves. Some kids, depending on your attachment, that's the other thing. Is if your kid has a secure attachment to you, I genuinely had to like teach her to play on her own and to be okay without me physically sitting next to her all the time. And I didn't even realize that was something I had to teach her, but it was because she was so used to being next to me. She was like, it was kind of like a scary thing. Like, okay, well, you're not next to me. What do I do? Like, I can't. So, it's like easier said than done for sure.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm not trying to be like too harsh or anything. I think it's just like you said, like you taught her how to play, and like giving her a phone sometimes I think is like totally fine. But it's like I know like people in my family who like their kids like literally like you give them the iPad, it dies, and then you give them your phone because they're screaming, and then like they'll scream at you because they can't hear the phone. Like one time I was like riding with like my sister, and then her baby's kind of like an iPad baby, and like we were like just talking in the car going on the way to like Dallas to our other sister's house for Thanksgiving or something, and like she was her baby's like 4 now, but I think she was like 3. She was like screaming at us because like she couldn't hear the YouTube video because we were like talking, and she was like, no talking, no talk, no talk, and just like stuff like that. Where it's like, I know part of the issue is like people are really judgmental. Like, you know, they'll be like, oh, I'm sitting next to the baby on the plane, and so that is why parents do want to be like, do want to be like, oh, here, take the iPad, because I don't want to inconvenience other people. So I do understand that there is like the like social judgment that kind of factors into it, but I just don't like how like some parents like won't spend any time with their kids, and then it's just like computer screen, switch, phone, iPad,
like
TV.
if they go into the restaurant already pulling the phone out or the iPad before the kid even is like making any noise, then that's different versus like, I mean, I try to entertain her, like do the coloring, and I bring like different toys and stuff.
Yeah.
So like that's my last resort. Or even
Mhm.
sometimes like I just have to like go take her outside and let her walk around because it's like she doesn't want to sit. Like I can't expect her to be able to sit for 30
Yeah.
minutes or even longer. But
Mhm.
Mm.
It's just it should definitely like be like a last resort, you know, like oh,
yeah.
I tried to entertain her. I tried to entertain her with toys. You know, she's being fussy. She's just not having a good night.
Yeah.
Then you know, boom.
I feel like well, when I go do like car trips, I definitely will have screen time for her because
Mhm.
there's not much for them to do in the car. That's
That's true.
different. She like
Yeah.
getting her out is I mean, sometimes I know it's really unsafe. But like if we're stopped in like traffic, then I'll try to get her out, but most of the time like they have to stay in the car seat and
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
like literally nothing else for them to do and like
Mhm.
if they don't want to go to sleep or they're fighting sleep, it's like okay, well, I gave you all the toys, I tried to play with you or entertain you and this is all we got.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, I mean, even like now, like I have my TV on all the time, but like we're not actively watching it all the time. It
Mhm.
just turns into like background noise
Yeah.
most of the time.
Mhm.
Especially like if it's just I try to put on like learning stuff on YouTube. She likes
Mhm.
watching other things like Baby Shark. I'm so over that. But if she's not looking or she starts playing, then I'll change it to like an ABC 1, 2, 3, just to
Mhm.
have it in the background. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like being in silence either. I feel like
Mhm.
that's I don't know.
True. And honestly, with that stuff, it's good because it's like even if she's not like watching it, you know, it's like oh, she's hearing ABC, like maybe like she'll pick it up, you know. And that's another thing where it's like if it's educational, it's good. But it's just like I know, like with my family, like all my kids are like they're all like they're not like they weren't like iPad babies, but they're like iPad kids now because
Mm.
like literally they spend all day on an iPad, on the computer, or like on their Switch or Xbox, and
Yeah.
it's like all they do all the time. Like they like won't want to go out and swim, they won't want to do stuff like that. And it's like I literally remember elementary school, like every single weekend, I would literally like go around like because I lived in me putting the location on the but redacted. Jamie fixed that. But like I literally would like go around to all my friends' house. I would literally go like down to every house and be like, "Do you guys want to play today? Do you guys want to go to the playground?" You
Yes.
know, and it like makes me so sad that like kids don't do that anymore. Like they don't play outside on the weekend.
No,
Like they'll be
playing
like,
outside now is a punishment. Where for us it was
literally,
like we would beg, like, can we go play outside? Can we go play
yeah.
with our friends?
I'd
And now
literally
it's
be
like
like,
if you tell your kid like, okay, like go play outside, they'll be like,
yeah,
do I have to?
exactly.
It's like
Cause like I'd be like, please, please, can I go to my friend's house? Can I go and see if they want to like go to the
yeah,
swimming, the community swimming pool with us? But then like
bike
nowadays,
riding,
exactly,
so much
yeah, we
fun.
would ride bikes. We would like take our little RC cars and like race them in the streets and stuff like just do stuff
Yeah,
like that. But now like these kids are just like, hey friend, hop on Fortnite, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
like get out of the house,
they don't know how to play outside. I saw like
literally.
a video of like these kids where their mom sent them to play outside, and they were just like standing there, and they were just like touching like the trees and
Oh my gosh,
like just they didn't know what to do. Whereas like
exactly,
my sisters and I and our friends, we would like take the frisbees and we would get all the like plants and make salads and like mud
dude,
pies.
yeah,
We'd build teepees, climb trees. Like we had so many different storylines going and like
literally.
that was the best to just go outside and not have like your parents watch you every
Mm-hmm.
24/7. But I feel like as a parent now, like it was probably a nice break for them to be like, okay, like they're not following me everywhere. I can go to the bathroom. I can like eat snacks that they don't see. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like this generation of parents, like we're a lot of like of the older generation or like our parents are like, oh, you parents are just lazy. But it's like honestly, no, because our kids don't want to go outside. They want to stay home all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
you guys had like our grandparents. Well, most kids had good grandparents that like would watch them and stuff. So I feel like our parents had like pretty good breaks, whereas now
Mm-hmm.
a lot of parents these days they don't want to be like grandparents. And so
Mm-hmm.
like our parent like generation, my people who are also parents in the same realm as me, like we're just more tired because we can't just like send them outside, and there's
Mm-hmm.
also more dangerous things to
That's
be aware
true.
of.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I mean, my kid has good grandparents. Like, I'm thankful for that. But like,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have, like, I didn't have good grandparents, and so I know that like, I'm just thinking about like, I'm sure our mom was probably tired with 8 kids, and like
That's
she
true.
didn't really have family to help her.
Mm-hmm.
But then like our friends or like my friends, they would always like spend their summers with their grandparents and stuff. And I just feel like today's grandparents, they don't want to like help us as much,
Mm-hmm.
which is like weird because it's like you had your parents help you, like wouldn't you want to give that to your kid too?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would agree that that's like, you know, the experience of the people in my life, but I wouldn't say that I have enough of a pulse on the general population to be able to make a statement like that, because I don't know.
Well, I watched
Because for
TikTok.
every grandparent who sucks, you know, there's people who, you know, have like 3 generations living in the same house, and it's just like, you know.
Well, I mean that's different, but if you were in a separate household and like you go to bring your kids to see the grandparents and they don't really interact with them much, that's like kind of sad.
Yeah, of course.
Or even like having to like bring all of your stuff to their house. I feel like to me, when I become a grandparent, like that's why I mean I hold on to her baby stuff because it's easier to not have to bring your whole house to somebody else's house. It's
Yeah.
nice that like my mom has a crib already and she has like things for my kid there. That way I don't have to like bring everything. I just have to like pack some clothes and you know her diapers or whatever. But there are parents out there like they literally have to bring like there's everything, furniture, just, and it's kind of like, and then there's also grandparents that charge for that too, which is
Like
crazy.
they charge
Okay.
for like
See,
babysitting.
that's some like r/am I the asshole level stuff. I don't know, man.
I mean, I
That
feel
seems
Charging
extreme.
to babysit.
That seems extreme.
your family.
Oh no, I'm saying that you shouldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
saying no.
that's what I'm saying. That's some like.
I was saying I didn't hear, like I'd never heard that people did that. That's why I was saying
I
like,
mean,
My kid wants me to watch their kid for like all the time, every day, and they don't even pay me for it. Am I the asshole? It was
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
you
there's
watch it for a weekend? Oh my god!
Literally.
calling people out. Like,
Mhm.
there's a particular person I know that sometimes when they
Keen star.
watch their grandchild, they're always like, okay, like, are you gonna provide food for them? And it's like, they're staying at your house, but like, it's assumed that like you would have the snacks.
It's a
and
2-year-old.
stuff.
They eat like 5
Literally.
goldfish, and that's a meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like this particular person is like, will text the parent like, hey, like, what are they eating for dinner? And you're like, I don't know, like, you're supposed to be watching them. Whereas like most people just, I don't know. I feel like it just depends. Like they say that if you enjoyed parenting, then you'll like make a good grandparent. If you didn't enjoy parenting, those are the shitty grandparents that don't want to be active. If they didn't want to be active in your life, why would they want to be active in your kid's
Exactly.
life?
Yeah.
That checks out.
Oh yeah, we started talking about phones, but I will say, I think for me, I would want my kid to have a phone around like middle school time because okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but you know how it's like you should get your kids something just because all the other kids have it, you know. But it's like I know like growing up, like all my friends had phones, and I hadn't like you said you got your iPod Touch in like middle school, late elementary school.
Baby.
I got my iPod Touch like freshman year.
Let's go.
And then like I didn't have like a phone plan until like I started going to UNT.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So like 2 years in or my third year of college
Dude, that's sick.
is when I first like got a freaking phone number,
Nice.
which like sucked because like for like school, like for the percussion group chat, we'd have to put in a phone number, and my stupid dumb ass would have to be like, "Here's my account email,"
yeah.
and I was like, "I'm going to shoot myself."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so like it sucked, and so like I think I would definitely give my kid of like again, and I know like you guys said that there's like a lot of like maturity that comes with it, but I think it's like if you're raising your kid right and you are like being proactive with the phone, like you make sure that they know about like internet safety and like you said, like maybe like you have the phone to like play with during these hours of the day.
Right.
And then like because my parents would do that where like with our iPods or whatever, like it would be like, oh, you have to like bring it downstairs after dinner because that's when we work on homework and then go to bed.
Yeah.
So like like something like that would be like really smart, so they're not like up late at night on the dark web or something. I don't know, But yeah, so that's what I think I would do. I would probably try to aim for like middle school because like I want them to be able to like talk to their friends and like have a phone number and have it for communication if they need to. But like I don't like you said like want it to be like something that they're like dependent on and they need and they're on it all the time. Like it can be something that can be helpful but still like kind of regulated, not too much to where you're too strict and they're like going past the firewall or something. Like that's crazy. Like you don't need to be that strict. But like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things like and like with a lot of the new technology like they're coming out with like different ways to do like parental controls and stuff, and there's like ways that you can do that where it's like helpful but it's not like hindering your kid or anything like that. And so I think that's my thoughts on phones at least.
I like that. I was kind of thinking like they should, I don't know, like how they would do that or what they would call it, or kind of like your license, like in Texas, where it's until you turn 21, it'll look correct, but it's picked up right.
Yeah.
I feel like with phone numbers, if a phone number is like registered to a minor, like nobody can call that number unless that number makes contact first. That way, because my worry is like if a random number text her and like, I mean, I'll try to teach her like you don't respond to them, but kids are curious.
Exactly.
Yo, free V-Bucks.
Literally.
Yeah, and then they start texting him like, oh, like what's your name, where do you live? And I feel like there should be some sort of like not a random number can't just text that number. If she doesn't text that number, then that number can't contact her.
True.
So like only her friends would have her number, and even if her number does get leaked, there's nothing that anyone can do with it.
Do you wish that was a thing, or that is a thing?
No, I wish.
I want to say that sounds like something that should already exist, but I don't know if that is something that exists.
I feel like
that would be really smart.
Comforting for me to know that there's not going to be random spam calls calling her, and the only people that can text her are the people that she knows in person, because she would have to text them first in order for it to like go through. But the only problem is like, okay, if both kids have that, then how are they supposed to text each other? So
that's true.
Yeah, but that's not, I mean, that's for someone else to create. I'm just trying to, put that out there.
That's true. CEO of Apple.
It puts it on hold, and then if they both text each other, then it's like ding.
True.
I mean, they like Bumble kind of does that too, though. Like only the woman has.
We need
to
Bumble
reach,
for children.
Like if you're doing like straight dating, like the woman has to reach out first. The man cannot text you. So like they kind of have that provision. They just need to do that with a regular number.
True.
Sorry, my mom didn't give me a phone number, but here's my Bumble.
But you gotta message me first.
Hit me up through that bad boy.
But true, that would be really smart. Yeah.
Just something that way, like, I mean, again, like you said, like, because we weren't allowed to have social media in high school, and that was like so embarrassing. Everyone's like, "Oh, we want to follow you," or like, "You should." Something happened on Facebook, and I can't ever see it.
Exactly.
I understand, like, I mean, now as an adult, I understand it, but as a kid, it sucked, and so. Like, I do want her to have a phone, but also at the same time, it's like, it just has to be safeguarded.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think that you're like, it's hard to make like judgment statements, but honestly, like thinking back on myself, like I'm glad that I did not have social media growing up. I guess obviously you disagree.
Well, no, I'm not like.
I like am.
I don't
very
disagree with it. As a parent, I understand it now, but as a kid, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they would have just talked to us about it, instead of just being like, no, you can't have it, to be like, hey, like you're 14 years old. There's nasty guys out there. Let's not.
There's a guy named Drake on the loose.
Oh my god.
And if they would have explained it that way, then I would have been a little bit more understanding versus them just being like, no. Because to me, it was like a fun thing. Like, oh, you just get to post pictures. I didn't really understand all of it. But they didn't do a very good job at explaining that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Dad, there was a non-zero amount of like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg is sitting at his laptop watching everything that we do in this household. So there's a little bit of that, but I don't know. I mean, as far as just like the social and like mental aspects of it, like it's like even as an adult, like people just delete their social medias all the time, and like what happens? You know,
They blow
they're
up.
like broken free from the matrix. You know, it's I
They
mean,
blow up.
I don't know, like yeah, they blow up and act like they don't know nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
Like
I
I'm
don't
sure you've
know.
seen the Snapchat stories where it's like, yo, I'm deleting Snap, get my number while it's hot.
That's
You
true.
know, and then they leave and it's like, you know, it is what it is. So I mean, I don't like, you know, oh boy, you missed out on damn Daniel, you know, in your high school years. Like, okay,
Mm.
whatever. If a meme's that important or whatever, like your friends will tell you, and especially if you have like YouTube or whatever else. But I just feel like I don't know. It's something about social media, man. It's just
I don't.
it's so destructive,
I
dude.
don't
It
know
doesn't
if
think
I
I don't think
agree with
social media is
you.
good for adults, dude. Like I'm so straight up. Like it's so bad.
I understand what
You
you're
know how many
saying,
people have
but
off themselves because of social media, dog?
no, I
Like
get
straight up,
that.
dude. It's so bad. It's so bad. And like little 12, like you were talking earlier, like little like girls who like feel like they have to wear a full face of makeup or else they're ugly or whatever. Like
Mhm.
everything sort of it just helps propagate. I'm not saying it's all evil,
No, I
but I'm
know.
saying as far as like net positive like benefit versus cons, especially for as an adult, you can debate fine whatever. For a kid, I'm gonna
It's so
say it is net
detrimental.
negative more than positive in my opinion.
Okay.
You just have
So,
to.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, you can go.
No, go ahead. Go.
I was just say, like, you kind of also just have to remember, like, what are, like, when do you post? Like, are you posting that, like, your life is falling apart? I mean, some people do, and that's how they get their attention. But most, 9 out of 10 times, they usually are posting the good things.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of have to remember, like, okay, yeah, like, you just see your friend just went to the beach, and, like, you're jealous for a second. But then you're also like, okay, well, you go back and look at your own Facebook post, and you're like, okay, well, I posted that I went here, here, and here. But, like, I'm not going there every single day, and I also have my own struggles, and so I'm like, if I'm not posting my struggles, they're probably not posting theirs. So then it kind of helps you not get as, because I mean that's what you do, you compare yourself to everybody and be like, wow, how come like I don't look like that after I had a baby or whatever. And a lot of it is filters, a lot of it is camera angles, and so you really have to just remind yourself like I don't even know how much of that is real, so I'm not going to get upset about it. As an adult, as a child, that's hard to have that mindset or to teach them that, because at the end of the day, they're still going to be like, well, you know, all these girls have all this makeup on and I don't. And that's still kind of like, even if it's like, oh, well, that they're not as pretty or you're pretty with like, even though, even like, sorry, there's a lot of likes, but when I am wearing makeup and I have somebody be like, "Oh, you don't need makeup. You're prettier without it." It just makes me angry. It doesn't it's not a compliment. It's like,
Mhm.
"Okay, so I know that, but I just like to wear it." So I feel like you just have to be gentle in how you want to deal with that.
Mhm. I actually, so I bring this up, the social media thing, because I actually remember very vividly having a conversation with you in high school
Uh-oh.
about it, and you were like, nobody wants their kids to have social media. Like, I don't want my kids to have social media because I don't have social media.
Uh-oh.
And then you were like, nobody wants their kids. Like I think parents either don't care or they don't want their kids to have social
High
media.
school we had a lot of outtake.
Okay, well, so do you disagree with that?
I don't
now?
know. Wait, what was the thing? I was
It
just
was
prefacing that high school me was that
uh,
had a lot of outtake.
your take was that nobody wants their kids to have social media. But
That's not true.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong right now, because I think I would like my kid to have social media. I think, first of all, let me preface. Again, I talked a lot about, like, you know, you have to make sure your kid is, like, mature. You have to make sure you know that they are trustworthy and they can trust you if they need to. And, like, you have to make sure that, you know, whatever they're doing on their phone is, like, well regulated. Because I remember in middle school being really upset because I made an Instagram account with my sister. Like, we made an Instagram account. But then we got in trouble because my mom was like, you're not allowed to have social media. But all we did was make an Instagram account to post a picture of the snowman that we made and show it to our friends. Yeah, and so we got, like, in trouble. But then my dad, like, stuck up for us and was like, no, it's fine. Like, it was just a little snowman picture, you know, it's not big. And so, like, I think that's why it's hard for me to, like, fully agree with, like, the other things that people are saying. Like, again, like, the thing about the sleepovers is I went to sleepovers in middle school, but the thing was, nothing ever, like, you know, a lot of other people had bad experiences, but I never had bad experiences. Like, all my friends and their family members were very trustworthy and nothing bad ever happened.
Right.
So it's like, obviously I, like, can see that there, like, are, like, negative things to, like, sleepovers and stuff like that, but, like, at least for me it went really well. So, like, why do I have to say no sleepovers because it's unsafe versus, like, hey, let's, like, play it by ear, let's, like, you know, make sure I know the people, you know. But that's how I feel about social media. Is like, I would probably want my kid to have social media not until like high school. Again, I don't want it to be another thing they're like obsessed about on their phone. So like
Yeah.
regulating phone time. But it's like, and like I would also kind of want to like make sure I know like who they're following, what they're watching on like YouTube and like stuff like that, because like like you said, like, oh, there's all these like makeup tutorials, and I know that there's like a literal thing going on where like high schoolers today will look like 20-year-olds because of the way they do
Yeah.
their makeup and stuff, and
Mm.
it's like sad, like kids don't look like teenagers anymore,
Yeah.
like it's like really sad to see everyone like try to look more mature when it's like, come on, just be a kid, just wear like
Right.
purple eyeshadow because that's what people did in middle school,
So
like,
it's not Drake's fault, basically, is what
oh
you're
my,
saying.
no, but
How is
like,
he supposed to know?
oh my gosh, but like that's what I think about phones, where it's like I would want my kid to have social media like if they want to, because like I remember me wanting social media, like, and because I would only follow my friends, like I wasn't following celebrities, I didn't care about celebrities. I'm like
Yeah.
not even following celebrities now. I'm either following people that I know
Mm.
or like some like comics or like animation like artists or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think I'm following like a few like celebrities, but like it's not like celebrities who are like
You're not
Instagram
obsessed with
model.
them.
Yeah, and I'm not like, oh, Instagram model who I think I need to look like, and like
Yeah.
nowadays, like I know a lot of young boys, like their version of the Instagram model is like seeing like bodybuilders and they're like, oh, I want to take
Yeah.
steroids because I want to look like that,
Mm.
and so like, making sure your kids like aren't like, looking up to like, these like models who are like, I'm completely natural, and then
Yeah.
like they're like on steroids or they have like, surgeries done, and then like
Or they
you're
eat half an almond as their
exactly,
dinner.
and then
Mm.
your kid feels bad about themselves because they
Right.
don't look like that, because like there is like harmful things that like social media like portrays, but like I know that like I wasn't really like looking at that kind of stuff, so it's just like, if you can make sure your kids are like, oh, I really want this because my friend wanted like me to follow them, and it's like, oh, that's sweet, like
Yeah.
you just want to be, because again, that's like the point of social media, keeping up with friends and family.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, you're only following friends and family, or like, you're following a few other people, but it's not like you're not talking to strangers. You're not like, looking at anything bad. Like,
Mm.
I think it can be like something that can be like really good and helpful and like foster a sense of like community and friendship.
Yeah.
But like, again, it's just something that, you can't just be like, okay, I have social media and then like never check up on your kid
Yeah. No.
because now they're talking to Drake. Like obviously you don't want it to be like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I think if I were to let her have social media, then it would be in a like my account. Like I would have the passwords
Mhm.
and I would post for her. So like she
Mm.
would never be able to get on the app on her phone, but she could always go on like my laptop or my phone and like sign into her account.
Mm-hmm.
And then if she wants to post anything, like it has to like I have to see it first. And then once she turns 18, then I'll turn it over to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that would to me would be the only way that I could make sure that she's not posting anything like crazy, even like if it's just like a story, because that doesn't last very long. Like,
Yeah.
when and even if I'm following her, like you can go in and decide like who gets to see it. She could always block me. So I feel
Mhm.
like having it be my account until she's old enough to run it herself, then I can be aware of what she's posting. I can look at the messages and make sure that she's not getting rude messages or she's not talking to anybody she's not supposed to. I feel like that if I were to let her, because I still haven't decided, and like I got time for
Yeah,
that.
you got time. Yeah.
But I feel like that would be the only way that I would let her have it, and not to be controlling, because I'm not trying to be like in her business. It's just for the safety side of it. Like
Yeah.
there's just things like we took her to like a play place with her cousin, and I was like taking pictures, but then I also have to realize, okay, like what is she doing in this picture? There was like some very questionable spinning arrows at this place. It did not look like arrows. And I was like, I
Oh,
probably should not take a picture of her on that because or just like, even if you're sharing a cute video of your kid eating a popsicle, like I don't want to share that either. There's just
Exactly. Yeah.
certain things that like she might not think about that
Yeah.
I will have to think about. Like maybe not like we're not gonna post like bathing suits even if you're in a one
Exactly.
piece.
Yeah.
Let's not post those. Let's not post things of you eating. Let's not post like close ups of just like if you wanted to like
Yeah.
you took a picture like you said of a snowman, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's just like if you want to post like a selfie, let me look at it because like what
Yeah. Dude, that's so sad that that's the way that is. Cause like I know like my parents and like their grandparents will like like go through the photo albums or like really old Facebook posts, and it's like, oh haha, there's my like baby brother in like the tub.
Yeah.
Like that's like a picture on Facebook,
Yeah.
Yo, let's
and
go.
it's like crazy because it's like at the time, like during those times, it's like, oh, that's not that bad. Like everyone was posting pictures like that, but now like you can't even post a picture of like your daughter like you said like eating a popsicle, because then boom, now it like people are freaking creeps, and now it like everything looks sus and everything's taken
Yeah.
like the wrong way, and so it's sad. Like you have to like think about like what they're doing, what's in their hands, what pose are they doing, like
Yeah.
like just anything, and
Uh,
it's so sad. But I do know that that's like a smart idea where like people will either do that where they like make sure that they are like following their kids on social media, where it's like I need to be able to see what you're doing, like like I
Yeah.
need to know that I can see your posts and stuff, that. Or I know like I knew some people in middle school who would do that where like they had like an iPhone, but it was like their family's phone. It was like their home phone. And so it would be like, oh yeah, the family phone has everyone's accounts and stuff like that. And so like you can go on the family phone and post something, but like it's not, but like again, since it's like the like community phone, everyone can see that. I like you said, like parents can look at the account and like look at the messages if they think that there's something fishy going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to some extent you have to, or at least what I'm going to do, is relinquish more control than I'm comfortable with, only because I know that like super surveillance like it just isn't the answer.
Mm.
Like they need privacy, and the thing is like I could helicopter parent and like check like all the texts that they ever sent from their phone ever. But the thing is like at some point, like because they're a kid and because they're eventually gonna be an adult, at some point they're gonna do something that they shouldn't be doing on their phone. Like I feel like everyone here has done something on their phone that they shouldn't have done on their phone at some point. And I feel like kids are no exception, right? They're going to do something they
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't do on their phone. So the responsibility for me isn't to prevent them from doing that because it's going to happen. They're
Yeah.
gonna be up way too late texting their friend on a school night or whatever, talking to boys. Oh no, or something. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen,
That's true.
and being a helicopter parent only it's the same, it's in the same vein as like, not teaching your kid what a drug is so that way, they go to college and someone hands them a Flintstone gummy and they're like heroin. It's like okay, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
that's
I
true.
I feel like this also applies. You have
That is
like
true.
the goal for me, at least when it comes to this sort of thing, isn't to. So I agree. I don't know if I'm gonna like not let my kid have social media at all, but
Mm-hmm.
the goal for me, and this is kind of like the same thing of like a little kid. When you have a little kid, and you're teaching them how to play, you put like a little like either metaphorical or literally boundary around them, and then like put things within it for them to play around that's like safe within that boundary. So like for
Yeah.
like a really little kid, you literally have like a little play cage,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you like put toys in it,
Yeah.
and then that's like their little safe space. So that way, like you don't have to sit there and watch them, but that way they could learn to like be independent and do that thing. And then as they grow up, eventually that like becomes like the backyard or whatever, right? Like you make the
Mm-hmm.
backyard a safe space, so that way they'll be able to like play without a monitor and do that. Well, eventually the phone will become that new space that they'll explore and
That's
learn.
true.
And oh wow, what does this do? Oh, I push
Mm-hmm.
this button and it lets me talk to boys.
Oh
That's
yeah.
crazy. So
Uh-huh.
my job is to figure out how to make it so that that's like a safe space so that when so like prevent like the super bad things,
Yeah.
right? So make it so that my boy Drake ain't calling them up at 3 in the morning, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time like without me having to sit there and check every message because like my son, he's probably he's got to talk to girls.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like, my job is to step in whenever it's, and I don't know how. I'm sitting here acting like I know how. I don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just on paper, just like like let buddy talk and interact and be a kid and
Yeah.
Just
mess
don't
up,
be
but.
sending
Yeah,
dingers.
don't be sending. Yeah, don't be sending your dinker. Basically,
Uh-huh.
taking pictures of other people dinker.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to go through that, but that would be ideally the goal. Is in the same vein, like set up like a boundary somehow with which they can play within, and that's really hard with technology,
It
because
really
technology is
yeah.
always, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you lock down the phone. I mean, my dad was like really good about locking down the phones, and it doesn't matter. Like I remember like like I wasn't allowed to use like the internet browser like at all on my iPod Touch. But we did have this app that was like a little like poster thing, and it was like inspirational quotes. That's where I got all like my memes and stuff, dude. And one day I was like, what if I just type in boobs? And I did, and it was like, whoa, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. This app made for like 4-year-olds has like boobs on it. That's nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, it's gonna happen, but like, you know, it's the difference between that and then, you know, letting your kid, you know, surf the hub. All right, that's what I'm saying. That's like kind of the distinction I'm trying to make because like, you know, I don't know if I want to, you know, stop my kid from ever, you know, looking at stuff, because it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like if they don't do it under, you know, the protection of like, hey, let's talk about it, then you know, kid's gonna get off to college and just start gooning all over the place. You know?
My God.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true.
It's the same thing. You know, they're gonna go wild with alcohol. They're gonna go wild with their phone. You know what I'm saying? So you have to like, I don't know how.
True.
But you need to. I want to create like a safe space with which to environment without checking their every message, because they're gonna do things they shouldn't on their phone, because everyone does, and it's going to happen.
That's
but
true.
Well, like the
just limit what things.
Exactly.
Phone is different than social media. So like, yeah, I can be a helicopter parent because it's public anyways. So if you're posting things, everybody else is gonna see it, then like I'm gonna see it. But as far as text messages, that's different. I'm not gonna go through every single of her text messages because that's not public. That's a private thing.
Yeah.
But as far as public wise, then I'll be more strict on that, just because like that's a public thing. So like even just like maybe not like go through every single message on social media, but just like, again, if she is talking to boys, just to see like what they're talking about, because I know like as a teenager you talk about things and it gets weird, and like I don't want to embarrass her in that way either, but it also is like if you're planning to meet up and you guys are talking about those things, or there's some pictures or like messages missing, then that's when I'll get concerned. But like you said, it's kind of hard to decide like how you're gonna go about it. You just kind of don't really know.
You can set up a thing that like scans for like if it detects
words.
if it detects gooner, then
Oh,
you're like, time to go in, see what kind of gooner she's
I was
talking
gonna
to.
say, I like the way that you said like you will have to like relinquish, you know, some freedom and like do things that like, you know, you're unsure about.
More than I would want to.
Exactly, yeah. Like because like you're right, like you can't just helicopter parent, because if you just do things where you're like, I know everything that's going on at all times, like that's not a healthy relationship. That is like helicopter, that's like way too strict. And like yeah, just like stuff like that, like it'll just teach them like, again, like how we talked about, like you have to have the boundary where you're like their friend and also their protector. But like if you go too far on the protector side, then it's like, oh, I know mom's checking my phone, so let me, you know, do all these things and then find roundabout ways to where she doesn't see it when she does her check at night or whatever.
Yeah.
Which it's like that, you don't want that. So
and my friends who did have that, that's literally what they would do. Is their friends would just be like talk on Discord instead, and like it was like their parents don't know what the heck Discord is, so it's just like boom.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so dude, like that's the whole premise of that Calculator Plus app. Do you know what that is? Oh, there's an app on the iPhone, and it's called Calculator Plus, and then when you open it up, it's like a calculator, but then you can like set a little pin, so if you type in these numbers, then it goes to like, you can move pictures there, and that's where people hide nudes. That's where people put
that's
nudes.
not what I use it for.
Oh, well, that's what people I knew used it for.
Is it just like a My Eyes Only Snapchat?
Yeah,
thing?
It's literally just like a My Eyes Only thing.
I mean, it functioned as a calculator.
And it worked as a calculator too.
So it just looks like you needed an extra calculator, but if you type in that like pin that you set up, it takes you to something else.
Because the regular, like, you know how the regular iPhone calculator, it kind of sucks and is like limited?
Pornhub on your phone.
No. Like, okay, I'm a notes app girl, and so like I would write my feelings, and so like I didn't want him to like go through my notes, and then because like there's things that like, I mean, there's things like in a relationship that you think about but you don't ever say, because you know, like, I mean, he's dead now, so like he was balding, so sometimes I would be like, you're like bald-headed bird.
Oh my God. He was like,
like,
he's giving me the ick.
Yeah. So, like, I would would never say that to him because I know that would hurt his feelings, but I would
Uh-huh.
like write it down. So like I would never want him to stumble upon that. So I got that app so I could write my notes out and like his feelings wouldn't get hurt over that.
Mm.
Just like I wouldn't want to read like his I don't know whatever else he had to say about me.
Memoirs.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I like that because it kind of makes me think like, like I said, like, oh, like I know some people in like middle school had the like community phone thing, but like I don't know, and like I know you said like, oh, maybe I'll give her social media at like 18, but I think maybe for me, like again, like this mostly is like determined by like maturity level,
Yeah.
but like just for simplicity, I'll say like maybe like middle school I'll do that where it's like, hey, use the community phone, like you just got social media, like let me make sure that you're using it properly and I'm able to teach you if you have any questions. And then maybe like once they start high school I can be like, okay, this is yours, just let me follow you, please be safe, like because there is like gonna be like a time where it's like I can't protect you anymore. You have to take what you've learned from me, and like I have to hope that you're gonna use it.
Yeah.
And so like it's probably safer to do that like when they're like starting high school versus like they're 18 going to college. Bye. I'm blocking you on social media and goodbye forever. Like
Tax the predators while you're in my house, and now when you're in
I mean,
college,
kinda,
you
it's
tax
like,
the predators.
I'd rather like someone be like, this random person sent me nudes. Like
oh shit.
like I'd rather than be able to tell me.
Yo, could you airdrop that?
Yeah.
dog
Oh
for
my
that?
god. But yeah, so I think I would definitely like introduce like phone and or social media like around middle school age, and then like maybe around like high school age I can be like, okay, like any questions, like and like hope that like I can trust them and they can trust me enough to like know how to use that properly. So yeah, I agree with
I mean, I want to watch them forever and just like
Yeah.
helicopter, but I know deep down that that's like not it, and like they're gonna find like what I'm saying, it's like
Exactly.
you ban alcohol. What do? They made moonshine
in the toilet.
You lock down your kid's phone. I mean, they're like what I'm saying, like whatever curiosity or whatever they want to do isn't gonna change. They're just gonna find ways around it. Instead of whatever, they're just gonna go to their school laptop and just be like, "Yo, what up, baby girl?"
Oh my god.
At least let your
Yeah.
kid text the day, girl. Like you
That's
gotta
true.
send school email to ask to check out. Like, come on, dude. Like that's cringe.
I think it's also important to learn like how they are with different people because I know like with my color guard friends we would always like with the girls, not with the boys, but with the girls we'd be like
Michael
nude
Brown.
question mark
Bruh.
and like so I'm sure like
Wait, you
dad
send
read
each other nudes?
no
Oh wait,
like
what?
we would like jokingly we would just say like nudes, oh you got nudes, and then we would send like a makeup palette or something, but like it was like a joke, but I know like if my dad ever found that he would be like, are you lesbian, and like what all these like and it's like as a parent you also kind of have to try to understand how they are with different friends or like I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, yeah, 100%.
That way, I mean, because like you said, they're gonna like they do need that trust, a little bit of freedom, and so I feel like I still haven't decided, but like she can have it starting maybe middle school, but like I'm still gonna like have the password and everything. It's just when she turns 18 that she's like I'm allowed, like she can change the password so that like she actually has some privacy. But even with talking about privacy, like I don't like parents who do this, and I disagree hardly, is like as a punishment they take away their doors and they make privacy a like luxury and not a right. And I feel like as just a human being you have the right to your own privacy. So like even my 2-year-old is allowed to close the door and like be in her room by herself, and I'm not like you have to keep the door open. I think I just feel like that's a human right, and you shouldn't be able to like take that away from someone.
What do you think about like say your daughter, like she like high school age, she got a boyfriend, she's trying to bring boyfriend over, and you're like, okay, like we'll meet him for dinner, like you'll make dinner and like you're gonna sit down and have like a family meal with him. Like what's your thoughts on this? Because I know like when I would bring my girlfriend over for like stuff like that, like I think I brought her over like once for like a family dinner or something, and like I think we like accidentally closed the door, and my parents were like, "No, keep the door open." And I was like, "We're literally about to eat dinner in 15 minutes. Like, I'm not gonna have sex in 15." Like, we were literally just like sitting on the bed, like talking, or like or I was like showing her like my room or something.
Yeah.
So like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I know like a lot of people have like the open door policy whenever
I've
there's
seen
people
Stranger
around.
Things. I know what you two
but-
are gonna do.
I don't know. I've only seen season 4 of Stranger Things.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
watch 1 through 3.
Anyway,
I think it wasn't.
I don't know.
Was it?
Elle and Jiminy Cricket did some wonderful things.
She has
Yeah,
sex
they
in
were
that
in-
show?
no.
Oh shoot! Oh,
They
wait,
were-
like is that
they
that
were
bad?
backing
Like,
up, bro.
can you not let
And
your
Hopper would feed them
girl
and she would use
kiss
the
your
force to shut the
boy
door.
like
So
that?
I don't know. I feel like not because I don't trust her. It's like the teenage boys that I don't trust.
Yeah.
So it just really like the first time he
Fuck
comes
them
over, like no, you
kids.
can't just go into her room. But I feel like if they've been dating for like 2 years or
Yeah.
so, and he has a rapport, and I know him, then it's like okay, if you guys want to like go in your room, just obviously like have like no sex would be a rule. But
It's when you walk up and put your ear to the door.
I feel like privacy when they're by themselves is okay, but
Yeah.
privacy when there's like a boyfriend over, I feel like you don't have to give your kids that because that's something that can lead to it.
I think the issue for me with that was like, so you guys have like a big family, but like when I had a big family, like a lot of my siblings are like a lot younger,
Yeah.
and so like because like my siblings now are like the like youngest one is like 12 or something.
I mean that's us too.
Oh yeah, and so like I remember like something that would be annoying was like if we ever like brought a friend over or something, like my younger siblings would be like super annoying and like rude or like whatever, and so like I think that's why I closed the door. It was because I was like, oh, they're being like
If it's
really
a
loud or
friend,
something. Yeah,
That's different. If it's actual like you're in a relationship, no. But if she
That's
like has friends over, then yeah, you can close the door. I know like
That's
my
fair.
friends and I did crazy. Like I would put
they were
like
nuding.
they would like a lot of dares when they were when we were younger, and one of them dared me to like suck sweet tarts out of my friend's toes.
Oh.
I did. But like
Maybe the door should stay open,
but
guys.
that's the thing, though, it wasn't in a sexual
My friend's
way.
name was Dan Schneider.
No, but I feel like if she's with friends, then that's different because again, I'm not gonna understand their humor. Like just like if I know my dad would have been horrified if he saw me doing that to my friend's toes. But like again, it wasn't sexual to us. It was like funny because like we're just like middle schoolers doing edgy things. And so like as a parent, I probably wouldn't want to see that. You can do that behind closed doors. But like
if you're gonna suck your toes, like close the door first.
or like my friends and I painted each other's backs, so yeah, like we would get like we had to get naked, but like it wasn't
the nudes.
sexual.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, I just like that's my thing is like it's again like one of those things where it's like it's hard for me to like understand why people will be so strict sometimes because it's like I was like a good kid and like Kelly's like also like a trustworthy person. Like I don't even think we were kissing or like making out or like. And, like, we obviously weren't having sex that day. Like, it was literally just like, oh, my family's being, like, super loud. Let me close the door because they're, like, bothering me.
Yeah.
Not at
And
that
so-
point in time.
Oh, my gosh. I'm pregnant, by the way, guys. But, yeah, but I do understand, I guess, yeah, like, if you're in a relationship, and especially when it's, like, starting, maybe keep the door open. But it's just, like, sometimes, like you said, I think, like, if they've been, like, dating for a few years, it's, like, her, like, for example, your daughter's boyfriend, he's good with the family, you're good with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're gonna go in our room and watch a movie. And we just want to close the door. Like, it's like, maybe that's okay. Fine.
Like everything else, it's about talking to them and education.
Exactly.
Dude. It's literally like anything. Like, okay, like we've all been teenagers, okay? If you're with your significant other in a room alone as a teenager, all right, you ain't watching that movie the entire time. Okay, let's not pull any holier than thou cards here. Okay,
I've never had sex.
I had a
before.
girlfriend in high school. Okay,
You had a girlfriend in high school?
we did kiss, bro. Okay, I'm sorry,
Ew.
it's crazy. I know, but we did kiss. We did kiss,
You
dude.
got a girlfriend?
I sure did. in
You
high
know
school.
that girlfriend.
Yeah, junior, senior year.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh.
Friend of the channel,
Well,
guys.
because
Friend of the channel, guys.
No, it's because you guys are like good friends now that I
Yeah.
forget that was.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. But that's the thing.
She was
So I'm
ruining.
not gonna try and pull some card that like oh, like if I watch my kids, they will. It's like no, like kids, they're gonna make out and probably
Hmm.
touch butt. Okay, it
Oh my
happens.
god.
They're kids. Okay,
I also don't think that
it's
making out is that
it's
bad.
gonna
Like,
happen. Here's the thing:
yeah,
what you have to do is try and set them up for success and be like, yo, listen, all right, y'all ever
pregnancy.
heard of Preganenan? And they're like,
Well,
yo, what's
yeah.
that? And then you're
Yeah.
like, yo, okay, so this is like what it is, and this, please do not do this thing, please.
Well, I feel like it's on both parents to educate. So I'm gonna do my best to educate my daughter, and then I'll have a conversation with the boyfriend's mom just to be like, all right, did you? I mean, I know that's
Did
like
you
too
talk to your son
forward, but
about
pretty much
being?
like, hey, like
Mm, for
I
sure,
know
yeah.
that they're dating now. Like, just want to make sure that he
Hmm.
knows about it, and like I'm not trying to raise anybody's babies or.
Exactly.
And I mean, I feel like with my kid, because our siblings are so much younger, when they have kids, she'll be like an aunt to them more than a cousin, and so I
Hmm.
think she'll get her daily dose of birth control, being like, oh, because I mean, if she's like, okay, like I'm tired, and then like the aunties come to pick up their kids, and she's
Hmm.
like, oh, that was exhausting. I'll be like, well, imagine if that was you had to be with them 24/7.
Imagine they don't get picked up.
Yeah, like that's your kid. So
Hmm.
hopefully some healthy like public exposure, because I mean a lot of people say like the baby's not the hard part, and I mean, I didn't have anyone helping me parent, so I can't speak on that. But a
Hmm.
lot of people say, like, I wish that they, like, simulated having a baby daddy. That's where we would have been like, oh no, I don't want a kid. Because the baby's, like, it's tough, but it's not hard. But trying to co parent is where you want to pull your hair out.
Mm.
Hmm.
Allegedly. Again, like, I don't have that experience, but.
I mean, yeah, it depends on who the baby daddy is, and also
Hmm.
you're, still in high school. Oh no.
But yeah, because it's like I don't think I would mind if like I had a kid and it's like okay, they're watching a movie, they're probably like making
Your
out, that's
kid's making
fine.
out for
You know, like
sure.
like you know that's like making out's like totally normal.
It's
That's
gonna
totally fine.
happen.
That's
It's
not
gonna
the worst thing,
happen.
like But like I think for me, like the other thing would be like because it's like obviously like you don't want your kids like before age 18 to like be having sex, like
Yeah.
realistically. But it's like again, it just like depends. I'd say like about 50% of the time, like I'm sure half the kids in our high school were either having sex or just hadn't had sex yet.
That's
And
Yeah.
horrible.
so it's like as much as I like wouldn't want them to have sex, it's like I'd want to be like at least I've educated you and you know about it
Yeah.
because it's like you shouldn't wait till like 18 to give them those talks. Like you should be probably like I think like probably start of high school you should be like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
please do not get pregnant. Like not yet.
Yo, son, you ever heard of a woman?
I mean, like, I feel like
It's like a dude,
usually
but
you
with
go
long
off like
hair.
if they start asking you questions is when they're mature enough to talk about it,
Hmm.
or like like you said, like don't wait till high school.
Hmm.
So maybe like if they start going to middle school and they start seeing things and they hit puberty is when you can start leading into that, and you
That's
don't have
true.
to
Yeah.
get like too explicit about it. And then as they go into high school, then you can get a little bit more explicit.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can't make it a taboo thing. You can't make it awkward.
Exactly.
You can't be like, let's not say sex, let's say a different word. Like, just no, say all
Hmm.
the correct words. Don't make it like a huge thing. Because that's the other thing, too. If you're, making it such a big deal, and then they're going to be like, well, why is it such a big deal? And then they want to
Hmm.
go do that versus just being
Yeah.
completely open. I feel like it will deter that. But I don't know, because like you also don't want to be like, okay, having a baby is a bad thing,
Hmm.
because every kid is a blessing, but at the same time, like you're in high school, like
Hmm.
you should be focusing on
Yeah.
school, extra curricular activities. You shouldn't have to be worrying about like feeding a child
For
or
sure.
staying up every
Yeah.
night.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it honestly, again, it just depends on the child's personality. You just have to try different things. So, like, right now I don't have to worry about it, but as she gets older, like, if one of my tactics don't work, I'm just gonna have to try something else.
Hmm.
Or, I don't know. I mean, probably use my experience to also, like, help her because it's like if you get, like, pregnant in high school, does that mean like you're gonna get married too? And if you don't
Yeah.
get married, then you're just gonna be like a single mom, and who knows if he's gonna chip in or not,
Mhm.
and I can just kind of use what happened with my situation to just be like,
Mhm.
you see me exhausted, you don't want to do that to yourself. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
choose wisely who you have a
true.
kid with.
Yeah,
And that's
like,
all you can do. They're gonna make their own choices.
mhm. Yeah, that's the thing that sucks. It's because, like, again, like, I would want my kid to, like, at least wait until college to have sex, you know? But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like, in the event that they do, or, like, they're like, oh, we're gonna go watch a movie, and they're, like, 17, and then, like, during the movie they start making out, and then they're, like, jerking it under the blanket, or, like, obviously I wouldn't want that. But it's, like, that happens, like, stuff like that happens, and so it's,
Yeah.
like, again, like, at least educate them, and, like, talk to them about this, so it's, like, they know the risks. They're not just like, oh, this feels good. Why is my stomach getting bigger? Like,
Yeah.
like,
What the?
Preganity,
You
like,
also have to teach him, like, I also have to feel confident enough to know that, like, if someone's making her do something she doesn't want to do, that he
exactly.
can, one, be like, hey, can you stop, and not be
Mhm.
afraid, like, he's gonna overpower her, or for her to be able to text me and be like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, because I know that, like, if that would happen to me, I would never text my parents, be like, hey, come help me, because that's so embarrassing,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they made it an embarrassing thing.
Mhm.
Whereas her, I want her to, like, be a strong, independent woman, to be like, no, I said no, and
Yeah.
to, like, be able to fight for herself, and if she
Mhm.
can't, be able enough to trust me to let me know that something's going on, because
Mhm.
like, sometimes, I mean, yeah, like, if it's a consensual thing and they want to do that, that's different, but if, she got into a situation where, like, it was forced, like, that's a completely
Exactly.
different.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, that's what sucks, because it's like, I feel like for me mentally, like, for me, it's like, oh, please wait until after high school to have sex, And
Yeah.
it's like, I can do everything I can as a parent to try and instill that value into my kid, just like, because it's like, because, like, I'm not going to be like, abstinent, no sex, sex bad, we're not going to talk about it,
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I know, because, like you said, it's like one of those things where it's like, things are going to happen, people want to do things, like, the least I can do is, like, at least try and delay it a little bit, be like, please don't have sex until, like, you're out of high school, until
Yeah.
you're, like, a little bit more mature, you're, like, your brain is a little bit more, like, developed, things like that. And so, like, that's my hope, is that, like, if I ever had a kid, I would try and, like, again, like, how, like, some people are abstinent, and so they'll try to, like, train their kids to be, like, abstinent, like, no sex until we're married, And it's like, I'm gonna be honest and be like, I know things might happen, like, maybe you might want to wait till you're married, but, like, at the very least, please just wait until, like, after high school. And so, like, again, like, you can't make them do anything if they go off to college, like, or if they go to school and, they're like, oh, I have to stay after for something, and then they're, like, having sex in the parking lot, Like, you never know. And so it's like, it sucks, because, like, you want, like, your kids to do certain things, but you can't make anyone do anything.
Yeah,
All you can do is, like, try and guide them in the right direction. So that's what I would try to do. But, like, again, things happen, so the least you can do is, like, make sure they're, like, educated, in case something happens.
And, like, be a safety net.
Exactly, yeah.
that's
And
true.
be able to be, like I said, yeah, like, someone who they can trust, where they can be like, oh no, I think I'm pregnant, we need to go get a pregnancy test or something.
Right, and instead of them being, like, afraid and, like, have to hide it, or
Mhm.
Do surgeries, like, if she wants to do that, that's different, but if she feels like she has to because she's afraid of telling me, then that's different. I would never want her to do something just because she's afraid of me
Exactly.
being mad at her.
Dad, I got a girl pregnant. You're like, all right, no Fortnite for a month.
Oh my god.
That's what it is.
Dude, and the thing that sucks is that we keep like talking about, like, pregnancy, but it's like other things too. It's like, there's like STDs, there's like
STDs.
AIDS,
true.
It's like, I want my kid to be able to be like, hey, I'm not feeling so great down south, like,
Yeah.
and not just be like, oh no, they have this, like, infection that can get worse if, like, they don't go to the doctor, but they're too scared to tell me,
Also, like, their nudes leaking. Like, that's a thing that happens.
That's true.
And that's, I mean, it's not, like, the biggest concern, but, I mean, kids, they be sending pictures, and if that gets out, then that's today CP, dude.
That's true.
And that's
Yeah.
a thing. So, I guess that's, like, just another...
I feel like as a guy,
Another
though, it's
caveat.
not as embarrassing as it is for a girl.
I mean, well, I know you're saying that, but I get what you're saying, where it's like, guys will send, like, unsolicited pictures all the time. Like, they're like, again, not every guy, but, like, a lot of guys will do that, to where they're like, hey, you want to see my nudes? And you're like, no. And they're like, too bad. you know.
It
But like
depends.
most of the times, women
If
aren't
the
doing
dude,
that.
okay,
So
it depends. If the dude got big winky, then it's a flex. But if the dude got small winky, then everyone's over gonna be like, "You get a baby carrot."
nah, you don't understand. There's people with the small winkies
I
who are
know,
still
bro.
doing that, you know.
I know, but then when it gets shared that the dude with
True.
the small winky was doing that, because he don't know, all he knows is his own winky, and he's
Dude.
probably not googling winky. So
Insert
that's
redacted
it's
person from
redacted.
percussion.
And bro, so
Did
he
I tell you
goes,
about that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they see that, and then they get passed around, and then
Yeah.
everyone knows the winky now,
Look,
and
I was told it was
it could be. It could be. That's what I'm saying. It could be very embarrassing. So I don't
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
I feel like for a girl, even if her nudes are hot, I doubt it still won't be embarrassing. But at least for the dude's
yeah.
perspective,
Yeah, that's
it's
what I'm
only embarrassing
saying.
if they
Like,
got
even
small
if
dick.
it's great,
Yeah.
great news for the girls, it's embarrassing.
You're like-
for great news for a guy.
The
It's
hottest
like,
16-year-old I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
yeah, see, and then that's the other thing is now it's on. It's not just on their phone, but their parents look at that too. So it's like I
Mhm.
don't want
Someone's dad to
looking
be,
at my
yeah.
child's nude,
For
because
sure.
even if they're not like the those creepy men, they still
So that's
see
another
it.
so that's
Mhm.
another thing within the little like boundary that I was talking about. That's like it's like okay, fine, whatever, you're gonna make out, whatever. It's like having sex, sending nudes, that kind of stuff. Like it's like please,
Mhm.
please. Like I don't know. I'll just detect. I don't know.
Mhm.
Put some. I mean, as technology gets better, I'm sure there's some
Sure.
detectnude.org you can
Mhm.
download on their phone or something that'll just do
Bro,
that. I
I'm
don't
giving
know.
them a phone that don't got a camera, bro. That's the only way. Dude, because that's so
They
scary.
can only
Like,
do screenshots for their Instagram.
I know with our cousin, like they put an app on her phone, her boyfriend did, where it allowed them to control her camera, so they could just tap into her camera and they would like watch her like get undressed and things like that, and she had no idea.
crazy.
Wait, what? Huh?
That happened with her cousin. I mean, you can ask mom about it.
Okay, and the boyfriend.
It was they like downloaded an app on her phone, and I don't think it was kind of like a calculator app, where it looked like it was something else, but it
Mhm.
allowed them to have access to her camera.
Did she know that?
No, not at the time, and I don't know how she found out. I'm sure maybe they sent her or they told her, but yeah, for the longest time they would just tap into her camera. So
That's
there's like a bunch of
crazy.
shady things that you just have to be careful. Like, I want to be able to give my daughter some freedom, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to control her all the time, but if it's like stuff like that, I feel like apps and stuff, well, I'm gonna have to look through it and like make sure that it doesn't do something else than advertise.
Yeah, that's the thing that like really sucks, because like especially like with nudes specifically, you send it to someone, they could show their friends. You send it to like a person, they could use it to like try and blackmail you, and then like threaten to send it to people. And then also a lot of people like like how it's like, oh, if you break up with someone, you're supposed to delete their nudes, but not everyone does that. No one's like checking up to make sure they're gone. So it's like there's probably someone you dated like 20 years ago who probably could still have your nudes, and that's like crazy.
That's why her mom's nudes.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so that's why, oh my gosh, nudes specifically, it's like so scary, because it's like, oh my gosh, like, because that's like honestly one of the things that I would say is like almost like kissing, where it's like almost everyone will do it, and it's like crazy, and it's like, oh, how do you prevent it? But how do you know? Like especially with things like Snapchat, like you would never know. Yeah. You would never know that your kid sent nudes.
So that's the thing. Like as far as some of the thing, it's like okay, like yeah, it's like give them, at least let them have Snapchat or something, so that way they're not having to send it over the like family Discord,
the iMessage.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Just something. I don't know, and that's I don't know. It's because you're right. Like I like to act like I was holier than thou, but like.
They're out there somewhere.
I've seen. They're out there. They're out there, bro. My booty hole on the
internet. Oh my god,
straight
dude!
Up.
James Charles' news got leaked today. I don't know if you guys saw that. I didn't see them,
so
but I saw him trending on Twitter, and when I tapped what it was, someone was like, "I can't believe I just opened Twitter and this is what I saw: a 9/11 meme, and then James Charles' asshole." And I was like, "Oh my god."
It was a narratorial guide.
No, oh my god, the narratorial. You know about that, right?
Mm-mm.
There's this guy on YouTube, and it's like a video like how to use Nair. And because the video is an educational video, it's allowed to be up, and he shows his whole booty hole.
It's hair removal cream.
Yeah. There's like a lot of crazy stuff on YouTube. Like, there's like
I've seen the breastfeeding videos. I know about those.
there's like videos of people like giving birth on YouTube.
No, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
because it's also like educational, and so there's like giving birth videos.
I mean, if you get off to that, then
Here's the thing, though. It's like if that wasn't on YouTube, like you'll find it elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I feel
such-
like that's a
yeah.
little different than like CP. You can definitely be like, nah. But I mean, for stuff that's just like kinky, it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, because for every person who's watching that Tagoon, I mean, there's a medical student who's like, yo, how does birth?
I was
you
gonna
know,
say, I'm
like-
like, I don't
then
know
I
if
don't think-
people are gooning to that. I hope not, but I know
mean,
that like
everything's a kink, bro. People
what I'm saying, like-
goon to Judy Hopps, bro. You think
That's
someone's not
true.
gonna goon to
Oh
giving
my
birth? Like, come on.
that's crazy.
that was the whole thing too. I don't know.
Dude.
I caught
That's what I'm saying,
it's
dude.
like sophomore year where they just like made her and the Fox guy.
Oh my God,
like,
yes.
throwing things on
That's what I'm
him, and I was
saying,
like,
dude.
these are like.
Yeah,
They
but
should
it sucks
pay
because
for
like I
If stars
didn't.
is popular,
Oh
okay,
my
people
God.
are absolutely gonna get off to pregnancy.
Okay, well
I'm
I
just
didn't.
saying,
I
I'm
didn't
just
think
saying.
about it like that, but it sucks because like I do know like people who probably watch that, like you said, are either like medical students, like people who need to watch it for like actual educational
Or if you're just
purposes.
curious, you know,
Or-
like, yo,
That's true.
what's
Or
birth?
people
Straight up.
who like, because like I know a lot of people will want to do like the home births and stuff because
Mm.
like they don't trust the hospitals, and I'm pretty sure that's also what it's for. Is it's like a community thing where it's like, oh, here's how you do like a home birth because like
Mhm.
someone has to teach you how to do it,
Mhm.
and so it's like, oh, a tutorial or whatever. And so like it sucks because like there are things that are like there for good reasons,
Mhm.
and then it's like someone's going into that, and I don't like that.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about the other day when I was like online clothes shopping. I was like, I wonder like how many people just like instead of just going on the internet, they just look up people trying on clothes because you're selling a product, they don't really have tight margins on that. So you just like you'll see if you like Victoria's Secret or whatever, you have models modeling underwear.
Mhm.
So like the good thing or what the purpose of it is to like, okay, this is what it looks like on, so it's like for women.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like there could be men just looking at it, like, and
Mhm.
it's not for an educational or like for they're not gonna buy the bra, but they're just.
I mean, that's different though. That's different.
Well, that's
I mean,
what I'm saying. You can't
That's
safeguard everything.
VictoriaSecret.com.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, but even if you're
Yeah.
like looking up shirts and stuff, like the more, because I know like even on Shein when I was like looking at stuff, they just have models there modeling it, and it's just like,
they got honkers, dog. What's
yeah,
that?
like even if it's just jeans, it's like,
Yeah.
what?
And then she texted her and she was like, nudes?
Cheeked up. And I'm like, now I'm like, is that just a model?
You're
Is that
emailing
the
Shein, you're like,
jeans?
name-
is the
name?
jeans gonna do that for me? Like, I don't know.
Dude,
Yo, this
dude.
shit straight turns you into Aunt Fanny, dog.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
they have like the TikTok leggings. That
Oh,
have, like,
I've
the-
heard about those.
Yeah, like where
That
it
what?
does accentuate.
It's the
They're like-
TikTok leggings.
They're like crunchy, like scrunchy leggings that.
They don't do anything, but they make people think they do something.
Oh. I haven't heard of
Yeah,
that before.
no, but
Hmm.
supposedly it's supposed to help make your ass look bigger, but
Oh.
only people who have an ass wear it because then it's like, wow, you really do, and then
Yeah.
people who don't, it's like,
Exactly. Like it probably accentuates the ass you do have,
Right.
but it doesn't like make
It's for
ass
people
appear
like me,
thin
not
air.
like you.
Oh,
basically, is
oh,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry, Mitchie.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry to
God.
say it. Certified cake.
And so it's like if you think about like even a
Every day I
kid
bake.
that like that's a way around it. You just see them
Mhm.
like, oh, they're just looking at clothes.
That's
You don't actually
true.
know what they're doing with it
And,
though.
and so that's that's the thing. It's like you're gonna try and like filter, or whatever, like what your kid sees on their phone, but boom, Your kid's on there looking
True.
at shine.com and then they see some dead ass.
That's
What do you
true. I
think
guess they
about
really
it?
will find it anyway.
You know what
Like
I'm
again,
saying?
they could be looking for like inspirational quotes, and
Yeah.
then
Well,
boom.
that's
And
the
then
thing
boom.
though. It's like you're not gonna go into their search history if like they have like the Old Navy or American Eagle app. You're not going in there and being like, okay, like what are they looking at? You're just like, oh, they're probably there looking at clothes.
By the way, I didn't look that up like out of random. Okay, one of the posts that got recommended to me on the inspirational quotes thing had boobies in it, so that's when my brain was like, "Whoa, are there more on this?" Okay, I wasn't
Oh
like,
my
I
god.
didn't like wake up one day and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna go find boobies on this app with like motivational cat posters." Okay, it happened, and then I got curious. Okay, just so we know and we're very clear, I did not seek it; it came to me. Okay.
Oh.
Wait,
Oh,
are you
I,
talking about the Flip It app
It was like
that
quotes.
Dad would send us stuff?
No, it was
on
like quotes wallpaper and something.
Oh.
Dude, I know it's like an ancient. It was like back in like the Doodle Jump days.
Doodle
You know
Jump.
what I'm saying? Back when Angry Birds was just Angry Bird. They could only afford one bird.
Our
That was
group
all.
shark days. Did you have a
The
group
Groove
shark
Shark days, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
what's
the
that?
Groove it's
It
Spotify
was
before
basically
Spotify.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I like introduced it to our older sister, and she already like had an account. She just didn't know she did. So like it was playing songs, and she goes, "Oh, I like this song. Oh, I like this song too." And I'm like, "It's your playlist. Of course you like all the songs."
Oh,
She's
man.
like, dude, whoever made this playlist is like a lyrical genius, guys.
Yeah.
She's gonna say like I have good taste, and as a little sister I was like, wow, like maybe I should not say anything, but I'm like, no, I have to.
You're
'Cause,
like, I do have good taste.
some of these songs I don't like.
But dude, true, that does suck. Imagine you're like, son, why are you looking at women's swimsuits all day? You trying to
know what
buy
I'm saying?
some?
I don't know. Like it sucks. It sucks to think about, and I don't like it. But it's like what's gonna magically change when Buddy turns 18? Like, what's the difference
Exactly,
between
yeah.
Buddy doing it at my house when he's 16,
Mhm.
and being like, oh dang, that's what booty hole is. Dang, dude, that's awesome. Just be like, yo, Dad, you seen this before? And I'm like, I know,
Oh
right?
my god.
But like, I would rather that than
Yeah.
what? There's not gonna be a magical switch that just flips in their head when they turn 18 where they're like, I am now responsible and I don't even want to look at butt. It's like, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna be a thing.
That's
So
true.
it's just like I'm just setting up the boundaries so that it's like I would rather Buddy discover what a booty is from Sheen as opposed to
Sheen.
going to rockin'hotbabes.com XXS MILF 420
Gets
only.
a virus on their
That's what I'm
computer.
saying. Like I would rather that than you know what I'm saying.
They're like,
'Cause that's what's
Dad,
gonna
did you know
happen.
that there's MILFs in the area right
Dude, that's what
now?
I'm saying, dude. Because Buddy's gonna, go to college or go join the big open world. He's gonna see a furry for the first time. He's
Oh
gonna
my
lose his
gosh.
mind and be like, "Yo, dude, hot dog 34." He's like,
Oh my
"Oh,
god.
shit! I see. That's why I needed to
Bro.
have him watch Zootopia at home." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You don't get to watch it in the theater. Oh my
But that's what I'm
god.
saying. Just create a space where like they're going to do things they are bad, but have it be the good or bad as opposed to the bad or bad. Because they're
Yeah.
gonna do things. I
Yeah,
did,
exactly,
didn't
yeah.
do. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like though, like I'm happy that I have a daughter, not a son, because I feel like just women and men are just very different on that subject. Where like men are like visual people, and I'm not saying that women aren't. I'm not saying all of them, but the majority, like men are visual and women are more emotional. So I don't think that gonna. Oh, can you put that out? I don't want to put her name on.
Jamie, can you cut that out?
Bruh.
I'm not sure if I accidentally said her name
I
either.
don't think so. But
If I did, yeah. Can you like listen? How long is this so far?
Jamie cut her out. We're at hour 52.
Oh shoot. Okay. Can you listen to this 2 hour thing and then make sure you cut out if I said any name?
Sorry,
I know I said my old neighborhood.
Yeah, I got
So,
that.
I don't want her
I
name
mean,
on there.
yeah.
Gosh.
They're gonna be like, we found you guys.
I know that I don't think she'll be looking up, boys' body parts, because that's not something.
Venus.
I mean, like, because, like, I mean, even now, like, they said, like, someone sends a nude, I'm not like, ooh, I'm like, ew, get that off my screen. Whereas if you send boobies to a guy, they're not gonna be like, ew.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's different, but just
You say,
majority.
"Ooh."
Oh my god.
So for her, I guess I'm happy that at least my journey is a little bit different than if I would have had a son, and I don't have to worry about like crusty socks or anything.
Oh my god. Dude, have you seen that video where this lady was like picking up her son's room and she picks up like this sock, doesn't move. And then she like is banging it on a trash can and it doesn't dent at all. It's like ching 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 ching. And it's so bad. And everyone was like, if your kid's old enough to do that, they're old enough to clean up their own room, bro. Like they were like, someone was like, she's holding her grandkids.
Like that, I'm sure he was really
Gonna
embarrassed.
cut the
and I'm
birthday
sure,
cake with the sock, dude.
No, literally.
yeah, I'm happy I'm good on the sun front.
Too. Yeah.
And that speaks to the individual kid thing that you were saying earlier, right? Like aside from just personality differences, like the gender differences, you
That's
know.
true.
So like as far as like how interacting with phones go, like I would probably agree that like I would probably be a little bit less vigilant about watching my daughter's phone as opposed to my son's phone. You know,
That's
call
true.
call me internalized misogyny or whatever
Mhm.
whatever you call that. But I'm just saying, like, I know, like, I've been a dude, you know, I haven't been a girl. I just, from my knowledge, you know, they don't be gooning to Shein.com, but like, you know, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but my son might,
Mhm.
you know, so that's like the kind of thing that I would have to be more aware of, and you know,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And also just like text messages that you send, you know. Like I would imagine that more often than not, if a boyfriend and a girlfriend do end up getting a little kinky, I would imagine that more often than not, it's probably the dude who's initiating that sort of discussion to sort of start leading that way. I would imagine.
Mhm.
Like you check your son's phone because of what they're doing, and you would check your daughter's phone
So
for what your sons are doing. Not so
Literally,
much,
yeah.
Like I wouldn't be monitoring her so much as to
Yeah.
what like the input, and then with sons
Exactly.
you're monitoring the output.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the input is like if their friend sent, you know, a dinker pic, then it's
Let's
not
go
as
dinker pic.
concerning.
Yeah.
I mean, then it's like, okay, like, do we have something to talk about, you know, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
like, if it's a girl, then that's something different.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, even I don't expose myself, but like,
Mm-hmm.
we as girls, we would send our nudes to each other to be like, hey, is this good or not?
They were sending nudes, guys. Let it be known.
Let the record show.
Literally.
Like, we just need a second opinion before it goes out. And
They were
so,
like, change the angle a little bit, girl.
yeah, but
You got better
so-
lighting?
I just feel like, yeah. Okay, well, I would say, me personally, I would say my friend sent them and I would critique them.
You're like, I'd give that one an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, girl, you need those leggings, damn.
Well, most of it was like, does it look like it could belong to me? And if the answer is no, then that's the correct nude, just in case it got out.
Mhm.
And because I had a friend who she didn't have an ass, but she somehow made it look like she did.
It's
Let's
the leggings.
go.
And she would use a different, like, she would never take like the same picture with the same underwear. She would always change it. That way you can't pinpoint. And so, like,
Why is she running it by you? What the fuck is
I don't know, but if it did get out, no one would be like, oh, that's so and so. Like, everyone would be like, whose is that? Because she doesn't have
Listen,
an
you
ass
know what
in
my
person.
phone looks like. Does this look like my phone?
Exactly. It'd be like, does it look good? And then, can you tell it's mine? And I'm like, no, because you don't have an ass.
What you do
It doesn't look good.
if you're checking your daughter's phone and you see her critiquing other people's nudes?
Then I wouldn't, because I did it. I can't get mad at her for that. And like,
You're like, yeah, I'd give that a 6 out of 10 too. Tell your friend that she needs to, you know,
well, like
change a few
I
things.
had like a friend be like, oh, like, do I have pepperoni nipples? And I'm like, I don't know. And then like I would just see it and I'd be like, yeah, kind of. You know, like,
You'd be like, I'm a visual learner. What are pepperoni nipples?
you know, that's what we were.
so dude. What?
That's actually, I think that's so funny.
That's
I love that.
fucking
You know
That's
what?
I'm saying.
Supportive. Girl right here.
Yes.
I don't understand why these are the pressing issues.
Here, will you critique mine?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, what I'm learning is I don't have true
I
friends.
don't understand.
Yeah, apparently not. If you haven't been critiquing.
Why would
it-
you? I don't even. What even is the like? Do I have pepperoni nipple? Like, are you trying to find out if the Flo Rida song's about you? Like, what are you asking that
Because,
question
like,
for?
like if I send them, like, not me, if they send them to a guy, is it like, are they gonna make fun of me, or are they gonna like it, or are they gonna think I have pepperoni nipples? So it's like you have to.
Yeah, it's like an insecurity thing.
Yeah, because like you're sending it because it's supposed to be sexy, but it's like, is it not sexy? Or they
Yeah.
just, instead of like making it that, Like there's a certain person we went to school with where her news got leaked, and instead of it being like a good thing, it was like, oh, she has pepperoni nipples.
Oh.
And then yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was like now she was
Redacted.
just known as the pepperoni nipple girl.
Dude, I feel so bad. Have you seen insert? Do you know who we're talking about?
I have no idea. I also didn't see you mouth the words either, so we'll have to
Okay.
create some noise.
Off the record, remind me to talk about this later. Anyways, but dude, yeah, like I don't know if guys do that, but I know like there's like specific angles that can make your like schlong look like bigger or smaller and stuff like that. Like I guess that would be like the guy equivalent to doing that,
The thing for me is like if you're like I said, it goes back to that education. Like your kid, if they're gonna be the kind of person who would send nudes, of their pepperoni nipples, they're gonna do that anyway. But like, have them with enough knowledge and wisdom out in the world to know not to send it to the type of, like, you can't know everything that everyone will do. Fair enough. But to be able to vet, because here's the wonderful thing about high school guys. Or just high schoolers in general. Why am I acting like this is just a guy thing? But like high schoolers in general, they're not very deep. Okay, they're just not. I mean, I'm over here acting high and mighty at the ripe age of 21. I'm not super complex either. I'm still growing. But like, especially a high schooler, man, like. There's not, I mean, there's not like nothing going on, you like wave your hand in front of their face, they're not empty, but sometimes you just kind of like, just like, hello, just a little bit. So like, just teaching them like, hey, like, don't do that. And then when they do disobey you, it's because they're doing that with their partner of 2 years, as opposed to them disobeying you and sending it to buddy on the football team.
That's true.
Multiple people.
Because whatever.
Who sent it to everybody else.
You know what I'm saying? Because then if you like teach them like, hey, don't do that, then it's like, okay, like,
exactly,
like that kind of thing, because I would never encourage it to be like, oh, you send news to, I'm gonna say no, and then with the expectation that they will probably disobey me at some point, at least it's enough of like a hard line that disobeying is like the good disobeying, not the bad disobeying. When you send it to redacted. I can't even make a fake name.
But yeah, that's the big thing, is like just teaching them good judgment. It's like, I know you're gonna do X thing that I'm begging you not to do, please. But like, please just like do it safely. Make sure they don't just like have sex with whoever. They could give you like an STD. But like, oh, you've been dating someone for a few years, you don't think they cheating, they clean, whatever. Okay, whatever, have sex, whatever.
Like, I would still, like, even then as a parent, I would still be like no. I
would
still say no. Like, I'm not
no, obviously still no.
It,
but I mean, like, whatever, as in, like, if they do it, at least it's not, like, the worst case scenario.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
You also have to, like, work on not being, like, and I told you so parent. So, like, if they do something and, like, they send nudes and then it blows up and everyone's bullying them, not to be like, well, I told you not to do it.
Yeah.
So just to be like, you know what, I'm sorry that happened. Because they're like, very aware, I shouldn't have done that. They're already like, I regret it. I shouldn't have done that. So you don't need another person.
Exactly.
Your safety net to be like, well, I shouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
So just be like, okay, it happened, and let's put out the fire, and then hopefully that they'll learn not to do that the next time.
Yeah, I taught you how to take better pictures than that, honey. I don't
know. My God.
I'm sorry, that's your own fault, man.
Dude, yeah, I think that like natural consequences are like really important. Where it's like, oh no, your nudes got leaked, and now you're having to deal with that. Like, I'm not gonna hound you. Like you're probably gonna be grounded a little bit. Like, oh, no phone for X amount of time, whatever. But like, I'm not gonna be like, oh my, it's just your fault. You're so stupid, because like they're already feeling terrible.
Right.
Like that's the point in time where you need to be like comforting them, not like beating them while they're already down.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of like call to God moments, where, I mean, aside from nudes, but just like, when you're driving and you accidentally make a mistake and then everyone's honking at you. So like, okay, like I'm not going to speed next time, because they're like, oh, I almost got into a wreck. Like, you're more hyper aware. I feel like also just those are important too, is sometimes has to be actions for them to realize things. So
For sure.
like if they do send nudes and it only got out to like he only showed his friend, you can be like, okay, that's a teaching moment where it didn't get too like it didn't blow up out of proportion, but it still went somewhere you didn't want it to go.
Exactly, yeah.
So those lessons are important too. And I feel like with those ones, parents shouldn't really say anything because that was hopefully they'll be like, okay, that was a close call. I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah. What like really sucks about a lot of people's personalities that like it's like really you can't do anything about is a lot of people like you ever have the time where you're like, oh, I need to clean my room today, but then your mom's like, clean your room, and then you're like, oh, now I don't want to do it, like frick you. And so it's like there's a lot of people who are like that, and then also like people who like will not learn. They will not learn from you telling them things. They will not learn from you showing them things. Like they will only learn from their own failures.
Yeah.
So it sucks because with some kids, like again, this like just comes down to like knowing your kid.
Yeah.
But like you said, like you can't tell them like, oh yeah, you should have done that, whatever, because then they're just like mad at you because like they're like, well, I'm an adult. You don't need to tell me what to do. Like, so what? This one thing didn't work out. Like, frick you.
Yeah.
And then they're mad at you and they don't learn. And so it like sucks because some people like you really just have to like let them go through their own failures and then like not be the one like telling them, no, don't do this, don't do that all the time, because it's like, again, like you can try and steer them in the right direction, but like if you just like come across like too harsh, like people will go like those kinds of people exactly out of their way to like do what you told them not to do, which like really sucks. And it like does just come down to like what your kid's like personality type is. But that is like another thing that you have to worry about too. Like we know Redacted, who is like that, friend of the channel ish. But yeah,
I mean, I agree with that. I feel like, again, parenting is very, like, no two kids have the same parent. You, like, every kid will have a different parent just because, like, some days. And I know, like, oh, like, so-and-so is their favorite. But, like, as a parent now, I mean, I only have one kid. But, like, having nieces and nephews, there's some days where I prefer one of them over the other. And so, like, it's not like they're my permanent favorite. But it's like, it changes every other day, just depending on, obviously, I only have one kid, so she has to be my favorite all the time. It doesn't mean I have to like her every day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, who's your favorite friend?
Stop making out with your boyfriend, and maybe you'll be my favorite next week. What you doing?
You're like, oh, I don't think I like you that much today, since you just did that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fair.
Who's your favorite out of
It varies.
What? It's not me every time. What the freak, guys? This just been... I'm bombing the house.
It's Reagan.
I'm bombing it.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, Reagan the best. Hey, friend of the channel, Reagan.
That's your friend of the channel.
Shouts out, Reagan. If you made it all the way to the end of this episode, looking at you.
I don't think you...
You're my favorite.
Our beloved baby boy.
I'm coming for you, Ryan.
August
Hold
15th.
Yeah, August. Wait, is that what today is?
Oh, we're dating this. Yes.
shoot.
2005 is when we're recording this.
That's
August
true.
15th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I love Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah.
He is so good.
Oh, yeah.
To me.
Soda.
Anyway, I think
that wraps this up. I had one more thing, but it's like already so long, and I've had to pee for like the last hour.
I mean,
so.
I have as well, but if you want to hash it out real quick, just to get it out there.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like another 30.
We're trying to do a part 2.
We'll do a part 2.
I feel like this could continue.
This definitely
There's a
could.
lot
Yeah, part 2. We'll do part 2.
Okay, so this was the parent, like, older child phone episode, and less about like parenting fundamentals. I would say like this wasn't like I'd say this was less about
We're just
like
warming up.
fundamental parenthood and more of like specific action as far as
Oh my god.
I guess that's just because that's the most recent childhood experiences that we all have here, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, any closing thoughts or actions or wisdoms for our wonderful viewers? Leslie, friend of the channel, you got
friend of the channel.
Any parting wisdoms?
Sibling of the channel.
Sibling of the channel.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, a bad parent doesn't worry if they're being a good or bad parent. A good parent worries whether they're being a bad parent. And if you are worrying, then you're a good parent.
Aw, that's so thoughtful, so insightful. My thoughts, if anyone's listening to this, please give us recommendations for other things to talk about, because I have like one more thing, no, like regarding this, because I already have like something else planned for the part 2, but like I need more than just with one thing for us to talk about. Did you say you had one thing?
No.
Oh, I
I
thought
mean,
that
I
you did.
have a lot of techniques that
Okay.
I can share that I use with my kid that has worked. Like I said, every kid's different, but
Yeah.
just little tidbits to help.
Okay, then we'll include that for next time.
Just
too.
like fundamental parenthood.
Oh, and then we can also share like before I was a parent and then after.
That's true. We were gonna
you
go
guys
over
can be
that.
like, oh well, this is what I'm gonna do with my kid, and I can be like, well,
You can be like wrong, stupid. But yeah, so let us know if there's anything specific you want us to touch on.
Yes. And let us know if we should start a Patreon, guys.
That's true.
Come on.
Special
Yeah.
podcast.
All right, all the power it takes to get these episodes up and running. All right, baby.
We're doing these like every day. Like we've never taken a break
Come
before.
on, guys. Come on.
We've never taken a 1-month hiatus, guys.
Guys, if you're too broke to afford cookies, just say so. Just say so. Just say so. I'm kidding, guys. I'm not Pokimane.
She's
I'm
gonna
Charlie Kwan.
sue us.
I'm like her, but sexier.
She's gonna sue us for
And I have even
defamation.
bigger bob than Pokemon. All right,
Oh,
all right, have a good.
Bye.